Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Thursday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen. We're back with you live for another 2-hour show here on Birds 365, a Thursday edition as we inch closer to Week 4 Eagles at Tampa Bay in that mucky weather. Johnny Mac, how you doing on this Thursday morning, brother?
Yeah, it's pretty mucky here, by the way. So maybe the Eagles don't want to go down to Tampa early to acclimate. They could just do it here.
Yeah, it's like hot and mucky this morning. It's
like soup out there. And it's almost October. It's awful. They don't need to go down. This is all the humidity you need. It'll be a little hotter there, but I joked about it. I mean, Vic blew that up. It's kind of silly if you think about it.
You've won me over. Vic won me over. Some of our guests this week who have also shit on it have won me over. Like, why are they going to Tampa?
I don't think it's a big deal either way.
Me neither,
honest, but I do. If it were up to me, and it's not, and I was running the team, like, I wouldn't highlight my previous issues there. Like, I don't want that in their minds. I don't want to bring that.
Do you think there's some like gamesmanship in terms of with the Bucs where it's like, oh, the Eagles are clearly a little worried about the humidity. Let's run some up tempo. I don't know.
Well, they already know that. I mean, everybody. I mean, they've been playing in that for a long time. They know it's an advantage for them. Just like for years, they couldn't win a game under 32 degrees until they won it here. In the playoffs. I mean, they couldn't win a game. They couldn't win a cold weather game. Same opposite. But I think too many people think of weather games as only cold weather, snow, rain, and heat. Very much could be a weather game. And you saw that last year when they kind of wilted. But even last year, look, they didn't have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Lane Johnson. I mean, they're not going to win when they don't have all three of those guys at one time. Yeah. And if they do win, it's going to be a real struggle. And, maybe they get over at the end. But, that's what I'd be playing up. The Eagles are 1-4. So, it's the only team they have a losing record against in the Nick Sirianni era that they played more than once. So, that's the only team. But they've been healthy for one of those games. And by healthy, I mean nobody's truly healthy. But they've been missing key players in every single one of those games except the one they won. That's what I'd be playing up. Now, unfortunately, they had a bunch of injuries crop up yesterday. That's the NFL for you. But with all due respect to Nolan Smith, who's on injured reserve, he's a good player. I said it in the summer because of what was shaping up at the edge, that he's one of the more important players on this team this year. But he's not at the level of AJ or Lane Johnson or he's not there yet. Let's be honest. So you can look at it both ways, but they're certainly more banged up than they've typically been. And that's one of those things. Eventually, we all been saying it. The worm's going to turn. The worm's going to turn. The injuries. There's injuries. You can brag about your sports science and the way you do things all you want. Some guys are going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's cropping up this week.
Yeah, it is. No doubt about it, John. Let's talk about it. Nolan Smith sent to injured reserve. Jacorian Bennett sent to injured reserve, and Darius Cooper sent to injured reserve. Obviously, one of those players is a lot more important than the other two. I say that with respect to the other two, but Nolan Smith, as you mentioned, has carved out his role, and the team is really relying on him, John. So how big of a loss is this for this team, and how do you see them kind of managing it moving forward? And before we get there, maybe we should just start with what is the update? What happened to Nolan? I don't think anybody expected this. We woke up yesterday. We didn't hear anything or know anything about Nolan, going to injured reserve. And then, boom, news breaks and Nolan Smith's on the injured reserve. So let's just start with kind of what happened to Nolan and what you know about the injury. And then we'll get into kind of what the Birds should be doing to prevail in the wake of the injury.
Yeah, it's a strained triceps, the same triceps he tore last year in the Super Bowl. So, um, the last thing you want to do is get the re-tear, and then he's going to be out for basically significant time. And even if he would come back, it would be a similar situation to Brandon Graham last year, where he'd be coming back way too soon. He'd be signing a waiver to play in the Super Bowl, things like that. So, they're trying to calm it down with rest. And obviously, they'll probably use the bye week to get an extra week. And hopefully he'll return after the bye week. That's the sentiment, but it's going to be a while before he gets back. And yeah, I mean, that was one of the concerns. I mean, and not even from the standpoint of injuries. I always talk about things falling into place, and I think they did a little bit when you get to Darius Smith. And now Darius Smith is your number one guy, and he's been here for 3 weeks. Jalen Hunt has got to play more, just like he did last year during the stretch run. He's ironic because I think everybody thinks Jalen is this superstar pass rusher waiting to just bloom. He's actually better against the run, which is not a bad thing because he's a good player. And then you have to start about guys stepping up. You have to start talking about guys stepping up. And, they got a bunch of edge rushers. The numbers aren't the problem. But, I mean, they're not even dressing Azeez Ojulari for the first 3 games. Obo, I think he dressed for the first game, but it was sat down for the last 2 games. Patrick Johnson dressed for 2 games, sat last game. Those are the guys you're talking about. And then obviously who's played pretty well until the Rams game was Josh Uche. So the 3 top ones are clear, and that's Smith, Hunt, Uche. And then somebody's got to step up from that second group, and it's got to be Ojulari most likely, I would think, because he's got the biggest upside of the group, but he just didn't have a good summer. It doesn't look like. But sometimes, we said the same thing. Kelee Ringo might have to play. Didn't have a good summer because of other injuries with guys not on injured reserve, but and partially Jacorian Bennett. Some guys, maybe take a step back, reset. Although I talked to Kelee, he didn't like that framing of it because, he said we're all in the NFL. We don't need time to reset, but I do think that's a real thing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And maybe they play better with another opportunity, but it doesn't look great on paper. But it didn't look great on paper coming into the season, and they've done pretty well. They haven't generated many sacks, but they've gotten quite a bit of pressure. They've gotten, and I think most of it has to do with the interior because Jordan Davis is having a career year. We know that. Jalen Carter's not quite up to his usual standard, but you can see he's getting there. And then Moro Joma's been fine as well. So that's clearly the strength. But, Nolan hasn't been spectacular, but he's just steady. He's just a good player. And that big 4th and 1 stop, he's great. He's a great fit for Vic Fangio's defense because he's comfortable dropping as a flat defender, which not a lot of edge rushers are. He's just a good fit for what Vic wants to do. And it's a big loss that he's not going to be out there.
Yep, it's a massive loss for this team. Week 4, going into week 4 here. The good news is it's not season ending, but the concern for me is, you re-aggravated it from the Super Bowl. And correct me if I'm wrong. He did have surgery on it after the Super Bowl. Yeah. So you have surgery on it after the Super Bowl. Now he's re-aggravated it, and the hope, the optimism would be he's back by what? After the bye week? He's missing a minimum of 4. So technically he could be back by the week 8 game, but
yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, looks more like week 10 in Green Bay after the bye week would be the optimistic view of him returning. And then, I don't know, I think it's fair to wonder, are you ever going to be in the clear if you re-aggravated it? You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's the optimistic view, but, it's going to be tough to prevail, John, with this edge rushing group. Do you think they go outside the room to add somebody?
Boy, I don't know, I think they want to see what they have. I mean, they have so many numbers. Like I said, the numbers aren't the problem. And it's time, they talked up Aziz when they signed him. It's time, to see if he can do something. Obo, why is he here? Well, this is why he's here. In case you have an injury. So, I mean, they're not the only ones. This happens all over the NFL. Nick Bosa went down with a torn ACL. Now Bryce Huff is a bigger deal in San Francisco. I mean,
you see, Bryce Huff was like one of the highest graded edge rushers through football in the first 3 weeks. Did you see that? PFF put that out?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me because, he had success with Robert Saleh, and they play a different style, and that's what he's comfortable with. So sometimes it's just as simple as that. But, now he's got a bigger role. We saw what happened last year with Detroit and Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, there's big time edge. You got to persevere. That's what the NFL is. And it could be a lot worse. Those guys are done. Hutchinson was done for the season. Nick's done for the season.
Right.
Nolan's going to be back hopefully week 10. But, it hurts. He's clearly their best edge defender, and they don't have a lot of great edge defenders, which is atypical of the Eagles.
Yep, no doubt about it. John, real quick before we get to the great John Stolnis, going to join us here in a little bit on Bird 365, and then we'll have Rob Maaddi in hour number 2. So a great show planned for everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button for us, guys. Trying to get to 200 likes today on the live show, so appreciate each and every one of you guys. John, the injuries didn't just end there for the Birds. Nolan Smith, man. A couple guys missed practice yesterday. Zach Bond, Jahad Campbell, Adoree Jackson all did not practice yesterday. What do you know about them? And I think Zach Bond's going to play. I would think so. What do you know about those three guys? And how's it look in terms?
It's very weird. So I don't know if the Eagles are playing the subterfuge game. Like Tampa Bay seems to have them a little spooked by their moving around the schedule and them traveling early, all that stuff, the history. Zach had a big stinking brace on his left leg, but he had his helmet. So, look, when you go to practice as a reporter inside baseball, if you see a guy with a helmet, generally he's going to do something.
Right.
He's going to be listed as limited. So Jahad didn't have his helmet, so we all reported he's not practicing, and he didn't practice. Interestingly, though, he spoke for like 10, 15 minutes in the locker room, where usually if you're injured, you don't speak. You don't have to speak. So he's dealing with a strained triceps as well. He said he's day-to-day, so we'll see how that progresses. Adoree also had his helmet and was stretching, and he didn't practice. So, I always talk about Nick Sirianni loves to play these games and go as quickly as possible, whether that's going to affect Todd Bowles or not. But none of them practiced. Other guys like Vic seemed to intimate that Keeley was going to get a chance, an opportunity, which struck me as Adoree's probably not going to play. Keeley was talking yesterday like he thought he was about to get an opportunity, but they're certainly playing games.
Well, remember what Vic said too on Tuesday. He said Keeley and BLG brought that up yesterday on the show. Keeley's going to get an opportunity at some point. So,
well, I just said that's why I think that may be why Adoree isn't going to play, but he's out there stretching.
Yeah, right.
Lane also looked like he was practicing, and he was limited. He had his helmet, and he said he thinks he's going to be able to play, so hopefully. But he was limited. Tanner McKee's still limited. He's been the emergency quarterback over the past 2 weeks, and Will Shipley was full go, so he should be back. Will should be back, which is bigger than people realize because that'll be big for their third down offense. But so yeah, I mean, they were playing a lot of games with. Yeah. But boy, that was a big stinking knee brace that
I saw it
that he had on. And I saw him afterwards. He did not talk, Zach Bond, but he didn't have a brace on. He was walking with his shorts normally.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think about like what's the purpose of tossing a knee brace that size on and still being, I don't know, in a good position to play. I don't know. I mean, it's weird to just toss it. Something to put like a sleeve on or something if you're sore there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Jihad had a compression sleeve on his
right. Those make sense
on his right leg, and had nothing. His injury had nothing to do with the right leg. He's got a triceps, so yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on. And by the way, because they place guys on injured reserve, they don't have to say what their injuries are. So Nolan didn't leave his game. We had to confirm that in other ways that it's the triceps. Jakorian was not in the locker room, so we still don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know if anybody got it. I haven't seen it if they have. And Cooper did have a shoulder issue in the game, so we knew it was the shoulder from that perspective. And all are non-surgical injuries at least, so that's a positive.
Yeah, good stuff there. John, Lane, you think Lane's going to play? I know he was limited yesterday, which is a good sign. I always get a little nervous when you talk about neck injuries, but I guess the assumption is Lane will play if he was limited yesterday, right?
Yeah, well, he said he's going to play, so I'm leaning on Lane. Again, he's not a doctor, but right. I think he's going to certainly try to play.
Yeah, good stuff there. Appreciate everybody for being here this morning. That's the injury updates as it stands today. John, one final note. Before we get to Johnny Stolnis, Jalen Hurts spoke yesterday. Did you take anything away from him? He is kind of a like Nick Sirianni in his own right, where he just can sometimes just give you a little bit of word salad. But what did you think of what Jalen Hurts had to say yesterday? Anything stick out to you?
Well, I think it was interesting because AJ spoke too, and unfortunately, I was at Jalen's press conference while AJ was talking in the locker room, but Ed was there. I wish I was at AJ's. Yeah, right. What I would say about those two is that one reverted to form and one doubled down.
Yep. AJ doubled down, Jalen reverted, right?
Yeah. So make of it what you will, I guess. But AJ was not backing down, man. He was not backing down.
So you say make of it what you will. How about what Johnny Mac made of it? What do you make of it? That means that means.
Well, I mean, clearly, I've said it for a long time, dating back to last season. Obviously, both Jalen and AJ want to throw the football more. I mean, to me, people that argue that are just silly.
Right.
Obviously, they want to. So the debate really is the best way to win football games. And the coaching staff thinks the best way to win football games is to not turn the football over. They don't turn the football over. They don't have an interception in 3 games now. Now, they did have the fumble, and that's a miss block, miss blitz pickup. That stuff's going to happen. They haven't thrown an interception. Why is partially they haven't thrown the interception? Because they don't take a lot of chances. I mean, it's not rocket science. And they win every game. So the coaching staff is emboldened. They're like, well, I mean, what's the goal here? So, I mean, and I try to say this as clearly as possible. Obviously, it doesn't resonate. Do I think they're too conservative? Yes. Do they think they're too conservative? No. Right. Does AJ think they're too conservative? Yes. Does Jalen think they're too conservative? Believe it or not, yes. But they win football games.
Yeah, and I think that's what keeps winning Jalen back to the old guard is like, oh, well, we're 19-1.
Well, I don't think they're winning him. I think he just has the.
Well, I think he truly cares about winning more than anything. So, he buys into it.
Well, plus he's also recognized the enormity of his position, which is about more than himself, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah. Well, Joe Whitt brings up a good point. Might have to come out throwing with a compromised defense. You're right. You got some banged up injuries on that defense.
Never think Vic's not going to get it done on defense. But
that's true. But he's not.
They're banged up too. Remember, they're probably more banged up than the Eagles.
Yeah, but they've been prevailing for 3 weeks, banged up. The Eagles. This is going to be one of the first. Well, they've still had some injuries. All right, good stuff, Johnny Mac. Let's go to our main man, John Stolnis, set to join us right here on Birds 365. I don't do this often, guys, but I got to start with John on the Phillies. 8 home runs last night. I mean, I got to start there. Let's bring him in now. You can follow him at John Stolnis.
I don't think that's sustainable, John.
No, it's not. John Stolnis, welcome in, brother. How you doing on this Thursday morning?
I'm doing great. Yeah, man. Phillies fever, catch it here on Eagles 365, right? I mean, listen. It's really, we don't, we're not devoted to just one thing, right? We can multitask.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. That was a big one last night, John. The 8 home runs, 55, 56 for Kyle Schwarber. What's his name? Edmundo Sosa with 3 bombs. That was a rare game. Yeah. A rare game last night. Real quick though, one question on them. You feel good about them going into the playoffs? You were getting close to October, John.
Yeah, absolutely. This is as good as they've looked heading into the playoffs in any of the now 4 seasons that they've gone into October. They're playing real good baseball. They're getting real good starting pitching. The only thing that concerns me is the bullpen still. Joan Duran, their closers, had a couple of hiccups. David Robertson has had some hiccups. Ryan Kirkering's had some hiccups. Like over the last 2 weeks, those 3 guys have just not really been locking down late leads, which I wrote an article for the Good Fight, SB Nation's The Good Fight about this. And basically, in the playoffs, you have to be perfect in the late innings. And that's an unfair expectation. But if you're going to win a World Series, you got to be perfect in the late innings. You got to protect every 3-0 lead in the 8th inning. So
absolutely.
But yeah, I feel great about them, guys. I think they have as good, if not a better chance to win it all than any team in Major League Baseball. Does that mean they'll do it? Who knows? Octobers are crazy.
Yeah. Difficult not having Zach Wheeler. You'll never know what it would have been like if they have him. But obviously that's a big. But you know what? I don't like this, John. And I'll ask you for 2 reasons. One, I think the team with the best bullpen is going to win. I just think that's what modern baseball has become, unfortunately. And that's my question to you. Who has the best bullpen? That's who I'm picking.
Well, the Brewers probably have the best bullpen going right now in the National League. They've got just a number of arms that are just tremendous out there, and they can shut you down in a number of different ways. So it's probably the Brewers right now in the National League. And I think if you're looking at any one of the West teams, if you're looking for the worst bullpen, the reason the Dodgers aren't going to win it all this year is because they have,
which is crazy. They were so good last year. In the bullpen, and that's why they won. That's unfortunate because they all become, even if you have these great pitchers, these great starting pitchers, in the old days, there you go, they complete game and you have this huge advantage. And everybody's pulling guys. But anyway,
well, that's during a time when, up until you had National League and American League Championship Series, you needed to just get to the World Series. You won the pennant and then you went right to the World Series. And then for years, it was just you needed to win 3 games to get to the World Series. And
it really is.
Yeah. You need 11 wins. And if you're a wild card team, you got to stack 13 wins together to win a World Series. So it's just much more difficult now.
No doubt about it. John, good stuff there. Another team in Philly that's got a lot of optimism here. 3-0 start for our Philadelphia Eagles. They look pretty good through the first 3 games. It was an interesting start to the year where, in very Philly fashion, they win 2-0, and everybody's like, "What the hell is going on with the offense?" And then they kind of break out of their shell in the second half of last week's football game. Just through 3 games, John, because we haven't had you on. What's your early thoughts on this Eagles team?
Yeah, it feels like they're still feeling their way through it, especially offensively. I think that they entered the season, again, with a conservative mindset. I do think that it has been the priority of Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo to protect the football. And they, I think, have been thinking, okay, any minute now, Saquon Barkley is going to get it going. The run game is going to start establishing itself, and then we can pass off the run. And that's what they did last year with Saquon, even in the playoffs, even in, up until the Super Bowl. That they were passing off of Saquon Barkley, and that's what helped open up the passing game quite a bit. The offensive line is clearly banged up. Landon Dickerson isn't right. You've been working on some issues on the right side of the line with Tyler Steen, and you had the injury to Lane Johnson last week, which the Matt Pryor nonsense for a half of football was beyond everyone. The reasoning to put him in. So they've been having trouble running the football. And so you can't be conservative at that point. You got to say, okay, we've got to open things up. We got to loosen up the defense. We've got to start dictating the style of play here. And I think through the first 3 games, the first 2.5 games, what was so frustrating was it seemed like the Eagles were solely reactive to what the other team was doing to them offensively. And so what was good to see in the second half against the Rams was, okay, we're going to go tempo. We're going to push the ball down the field. We're going to isolate A.J. Brown on one side of the field. We're going to take advantage of the talent matchups that we have. And even if they'd lost that Rams game, I think all of us would have felt a lot better about the trajectory of the offense and the direction of the team, knowing, okay, they've got this tool in their toolbox. They can use this. Let's start getting some more balance on offense. Definitely want to make sure that Saquon gets going, but you got to also then make sure that the passing game is working as well. It can't be one or the other. So it's been uneven. I think this has been their preseason. I'm hopeful now that in game 4, we've gotten all that preseason nonsense out of our system and we're ready to play regular season football. And they're fortunate to be 3-0.
What do you make? Because I think it's interesting. I think that's the general perspective of the outside world, that teams are trying to take away Saquon Barkley, specifically the Rams, though. I mean, nobody used more heavy boxes against the Eagles last year than the Rams, and see how that worked out for them.
Yeah.
And they're blitzing like a crazy amount. Now, part of it is just Spags, and everybody brings that up. Yeah. Spags is going to blitz, but if you look inside the numbers of that, he had never blitzed that much in his entire career in Kansas City, 0 blitz. So even he amped it up. And the other, Dallas was doing it, and the Rams were doing it until they begged off, and I think that was part of the problem from their perspective in the second half. Todd Bowles is going to do it. I have this theory that teams are trying to take away Jalen Hurts from the perspective of what Todd Bowles has traditionally done to him, which is keep him in the pocket, and if you can't, make sure you're flushing him left. Mm-hmm. I think that's been the plan of other teams early in the season. Has it worked? Not to the point that they're winning games. So I don't know if I can panic yet, but if the offensive line is not going to be the offensive line and what we usually think about, is that the biggest problem?
Offensively, yes. Yeah, no doubt about it. The offensive line has to be what we've traditionally expected them to be. And it's clear Landon Dickerson is still playing through some stuff, and he's not 100%. A lot of the guys are just not winning their upfront battles. They're also not doing some of the things that we've seen them do in the past. They're not doing as much pulling on run plays as much, a lot of zone runs, and that's kind of what you're seeing from the offense right now. So I think there are a couple of tricks up their sleeve they could still use to kind of help vary things up and to negate what Bowles is going to do. I think, though, we have to remember that when we think of how the offense has performed against Todd Bowles' defenses in the recent past, the Eagles have not been with a full complement of their offensive players in 3 of the last 4 meetings. And
yes,
they lost.
I bring that up all the time, man.
It
makes no sense to me, John, why they're playing into this. I think they're playing into this sentiment of, Tampa Bay's had our number. The one time they were healthy, they beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah. This A.J. Brown's only played once against them in the 3 losses. A.J. Brown was hurt in the first quarter in one of the games, and then he didn't play in the other 2. He wasn't on the team in the 2021 wild card loss, and then in 2022 he didn't play against them. So I think with a full complement of his weapons at his disposal, I think it's going to be a different matchup than we've seen. And I don't know that Todd Bowles is going to be able to do all the things to Jalen Hurts that he's done in the past. I also think one of the things we learned about the Eagles is that if you want to beat blitzing, if you want to get teams to soft pedal a little bit, then go tempo, right? Go hurry up. You keep the defense gassed, because those blitzes are not going to be nearly as effective if you're running no no huddle for large portions of the game. So if I'm the Eagles, if I'm Kevin Patullo, I'm coming out and I'm running no huddle from the first snap. Now I know that's going to be difficult given the heat index is going to be 103. Right. Players are going to be tired. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable for a whole game. But what I don't want to see is for the Eagles to come out and for the offense to look like it did in the first half of the first 3 games, where we're doing check down Charlie and we're just trying to, we're getting Saquon Barkley with 2 yards and a cloud of dust. You need to give Todd Bowles something he hasn't seen before. So I would go, listen, do it early in the game when you've got your energy. Go no huddle.
I like your thought process, John. I like it, but not this game. Because, Vic said, what do you want? No 8-play, forget about 10-play. He said 8-play, 10-play, 12-play drives. Can't do that in Tampa. Can you imagine if you go 3 and out with tempo and you're back to the Chip Kelly days and you're in that heat? Yeah. I mean, I like the thought process in general. If it were like in New Orleans or a dome game, I go, yeah, that I like that plan. But for Tampa and that humidity, although it's so humid here, maybe they'll get used to it. I think you're putting Vic in a bad set unless you execute. I mean, if you want to look at it from a positive,
you're all good. Exactly.
But the problem is too often they haven't executed well. And if they're off the field with tempo like Chip Kelly in those days, that's going to be difficult.
And then I guess it's just a matter of how confident are you that you can execute. And I would rather the offense err on the assumption that they're going to execute the offense well. And we've seen in the first drives in all 3 games this season, the team comes out and they move the football, which is encourring. That was a big issue last year.
That's what people forget. The person, now granted, it was a short field, but ball and interception, 2 4th down conversions, touchdown. Then they had the 3 and out. So they have been better early in games. But yeah, it feels like all we talk about is the offense in this team, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it. But I do want to get to the defense because I've been pleasantly surprised with all the change and how effective the defense has been. I thought they won the game last week. Obviously, Jordan Davis won the game, but from the perspective of if they give up a red zone touchdown and 26-7 is 30-7 or 34, the game's over.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to hold them to field goals in those difficult situations. And I just think as a group, they've been really, really solid on defense. And that surprises me a little bit with all the change. And they lost a bunch of good players. And they've been playing well. Your thoughts on the defense?
The defense has played pretty well. They're not getting as much consistent pressure on the quarterback as you would like, but that's honestly not a surprise, given they lost Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, and now with Nolan Smith on the IR for a few weeks, it's going to be, it's really going to be incumbent on some of these guys that they've signed, Uche,
Aziz.
Yeah, exactly. Like all these guys, they're going to have to get more consistent pressure, and Jalen Carter is going to have to generate more pass rush up the middle. He's been good, and Jordan Davis obviously has been great, but just that D-line will have to step up and get a little bit more pressure on Baker Mayfield. And really, I think just looking at Baker Mayfield is keeping him in the pocket. We talk about keeping Jalen Hurts in the pocket. That dude runs at most opportune times. He is a pain in the rear end, man. So I would try to keep him in the pocket quite a bit. I think with all of the changes, Makuba's come in, played pretty well. I think cornerback 2 looked like a disaster in week 1. It's been a bit better in weeks 2 and 3, although they went after Bennett on that final drive.
Yeah, they did.
Rams. Yeah. So we'll see what Keely Ringo has. Ringo has played decently in the past in the regular season before. So maybe getting in game action, he looks better than he did in training camp. I think overall the defense has done what a Vic Fangio defense does early in the season. Feel their way through, try to figure out their roles, try to figure out how everybody's going to play with each other. And then by midseason, they're shutting teams down. Until that happens, it's excellent that their red zone defense has been so good. And that's been a staple of Vic Fangio defenses since the beginning of time. They may bend, but they don't break. And that absolutely saved them on Sunday.
Yeah, four field goals in the first half. Sean McVay. That's not going to get it done versus the Super Bowl champs. John, how you feeling about Jordan Davis 3 games into the season? I think he might be, maybe with the exception of Zach Bond, he might be playing the best defense of anybody, or the best play of anybody on that defense. How optimistic are you on Jordan Davis moving forward after what you've seen so far, or not optimistic?
Jordan Davis has inspired me to give these up, guys. I really need to get on the stick about giving up sugary drinks, because you can see what a difference it makes.
Yeah, that's right.
The Peloton, not the sugary drinks, John.
The Peloton. Frankly, I could use for some time on a Peloton as well.
Yeah. Me too, John. You and me both.
Me more than both of you. Jeez.
Yeah. He's been a revelation. I mean, it really has been. This is the guy that we thought we were getting when he was drafted. His career arc kind of sounds like a Brandon Graham career arc. And I think that's who we're going to compare every first round pick who struggles at first and then figures it out later. It's always going to be the Brandon Graham route to success. And maybe that's where we're going with Jordan Davis. Picking up the 5th-year option last offseason was by no means a slam dunk, but it looks like the smart move now. And, credit the kid for getting himself in great shape. He's always been a freak athlete at his size, and now we're really seeing it. And it's what's also great is that it's going to make Jalen Carter better over the course of a season. And that's the thing, is when you have two guys in the middle who are beasts. Now Jalen Carter he may not get double teamed as much. You might have to start giving Jordan Davis a double team every once in a while, and that can free Jalen Carter up for stuff. And if they keep throwing 2 guys at Jalen Carter, then it seems like Jordan Davis is just going to keep eating all season long. So it's a great development for a defensive line that came into the season not really counting on Jordan Davis to be an impact player. I think they wanted him to continue to play a good role in the running game, but what he's giving them now gives them another defensive lineman in a unit that lost a bunch of talent last year. And that's a huge development for this defense.
Yeah. And, with that being said, Jordan Davis had a good start, but the run defense hasn't been great for this team. I don't think it's all Jordan Davis's fault, to be clear, but I do think that's something that those edges got to work on. And, any concern on that part of it? The Eagles are giving up 133 yards a game rushing. Kyron Williams and those guys had a bunch of yards last week. Any concern on that part of the defense?
Yeah, not dynamic running games either from the Eagles' first 3 opponents, and they did get gapped a little bit. I'm not overly worried about that, because I think, again, you don't want to get burned in the passing game. If you're giving up a lot of chunk plays through the air, that can really hurt you. And we've seen that happen a little bit here. But when you're
and that's Bick's philosophy as well. I'll just jump in, because if he starts having too many problems, then he just drops Campbell down the 5-man front, and if it gets really bad, he'll use a 6-man front,
right? And
then he stops it. So I'm not concerned. I don't know about you guys. I'm not concerned about the run defense at all. I think it's been fine.
I think it's isn't it kind of part of like what Vic wants to do?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
like he'll trade a 5-yard run. I mean,
right.
That's kind of the modern NFL. You're trying to stop the passing game more, and the last thing he wants to do is to blitz, because when he blitzes, he's taking a guy off of coverage. Now, that changes in the red zone when it becomes more of a high leverage situation. He's more, or in Kansas City, where he blitzed more than I've ever seen him, because he didn't respect the receivers. So all of these things are contextual. But I think the run defense overall has been fine. And if they have a problem, they'll just drop the extra front defender down, and I think they'll be able to shut it down. But they're okay. That's similar to think about it from this perspective, guys. That's why people are okay with Saquon Barkley running, as long as it's 7 or 8 yards and not 70 yards. Just don't hurt me in the passing game is how most teams approach it. Before I go back to offense, John, and I hesitate to ask this question, but the fans love this stuff. So CJGJ. Up or down? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I don't think they need him right now. I wouldn't be against bringing him back for depth purposes, but I don't think
that's not going to work.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's a guy you bring back for depth. I think if you bring CJGJ back, you have to insert him in the starting lineup. And I think they want to see what Andrew Makuba has. I think he has looked like a playmaker through his first 3 weeks, and that's what CJGJ's calling card is. It's clear that what a weird player in that, you get him for 2022, you go out of your way to get CJGJ, you make a trade and he helps solidify a defense and you get to the Super Bowl. You let him go. And then in 2023, there's no fire. There's no one making plays in the secondary. The defense absolutely falls apart and you're losing the wild card round. So you go out and you bring him back for 2024, despite all of the chaos that he causes in a locker room. And the defense, once again, is number one in the NFL. You win a Super Bowl with him and then you say, okay, see you later. It's like, there's something here where it's basically, it almost feels like you're making a deal with the devil with CJGJ. It's like, we're going to deal with all of the CJGJ stuff that goes with him, but he can play when you need him. This is not a situation where I think they need him right now. If he could only play cornerback, that would be outstanding. But I like Makuba. I think what Makuba is giving them at safety right now negates the need for CJGJ. I think he's going to find someplace else that's willing to take on any potential headaches that might be there. And even though it's worked twice in Philadelphia, I don't know that third time's a charm.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part about him is because you can kind of see anybody can see that he's tough to deal with, CJ Gardner-Johnson, just in the way he is. But I mean, it can't be that big of a problem. They went to two Super Bowls and won, and came within a play of winning the other one. So it can't be that big of a problem. But we'll see what ends up happening with Gardner-Johnson. One other player on defensive side I want to talk to you about, John. Reed Blankenship. I think you're right. I felt the same about Makuba. I'm like, I don't really want him to replace Makuba, but I don't think Reed's having quite the start to the season that he was hoping for in a contract year. Any concern on Reed Blankenship right now?
Not really. I mean, I know that he was kind of the guy who gave up the Devontae Adams touchdown, but that's not really his strength, covering Devontae Adams downfield. And he got pushed off.
That's no safety strength.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Reed. He's proven to be a really solid player since he was inserted into the starting lineup a few seasons ago. I don't really have a whole lot of concern about him. If he is struggling right now a little bit, my guess is they'll figure it out and get him back on track. I got it. Yeah, I'd say I didn't even think about Reed Blankenship. His name hasn't even bubbled to the surface in my head at all through these first 3 weeks. So.
I guess that's a good thing then.
Yeah, it's just not of all the list of things that I think, we've been talking about with the Eagles, any issues with Reed Blankenship, I think I have confidence that he's a smart player. He's a physical player. And that my guess is that he will figure it out.
Yeah, I would just add to that because I've heard that a few times. Well, just play CJ with Drew and not play Reed Blankenship. No. I'm like, no. Yeah, I mean, Reed's the responsible. Reed's the guy who's responsible for the communication and getting everybody lined up correctly. That part of it would not work. He hasn't had the best start to the season from his typical standard, but I'm with John. I think it's going to be fine. So I'll go back to offense because it's similar, and I don't want to compare them as players because one's an all-pro, but Saquon Barkley has not been Saquon Barkley early in this season, especially coming off last year. It's not only the running game. He's also struggled in blitz pickup as a receiver. He kind of is what he is. Occasionally, you're going to see the bobbled catch or something like that, but is it starting to creep back in your head that maybe 482 touches is going to have an impact on him, or is it just he'll get it going?
It's gotta be in your mind somewhere, right? And the fact that he played deeper into a season last year than he ever has before, so he had a shorter off season, and certainly he became like one of the faces of the NFL. I mean, he's already one of the more popular players, but his stardom went to another level last off season.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There were more off-season commitments that go along with it. So that can affect your preparation. I always feel like that's one of the things that happened to Jalen Hurts after the 22 Super Bowl heading into 23. Like there was just so much more going on with him that just didn't seem like he was as ready for the 23 regular season. I don't know that that's what's going on with Saquon Barkley. I think we've all seen that the offensive line has been not quite as good through the first 3 weeks of the season. I think the play calling has been different. I think the run calls have been I feel like it's been predictable. I feel like defenses seem to have some sense of where Barkley's going to run. And we also haven't seen Jalen Hurts be a major part of the designed run game, which helps take some of the focus off of Saquon Barkley through the first 3 weeks. So there's some factors. I think you still see that athleticism there. That spin move that he made for a 4-yard gain in the game last week, an important 4-yard gain, was indicative of the fact that I think he's still got the juice. I think the moves are there. I think the speed is there. I think the elusiveness is still there. I just think there's been a combination of things where teams have been more focused on stopping Saquon Barkley and saying, listen, until Jalen Hurts and the offense opens things up, we're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat us. And you know, that's why you need the passing game to kind of loosen things up a little bit. Running Jalen more and just getting that offensive line together, I think is calling some different plays offensively, like more pulling and all that kind of stuff. That I think will help. But you can't discount how much he ran last year and how deep into the season, how long the season was for Saquon Barkley was last year.
Interesting stuff, John. I think they got to pass more. I do. I think they got to pass more. I know they won. I know they won it this way, and everybody keeps using that stat, 19-1. And I'm like, all right, 17 of those games were last year, where you had a different defense, you had a different offensive line, you had Saquon Barkley was on a historic pace. You know, I think you got to evolve. You know, the NFL is a very fast-paced league, and you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you hear A.J. in the locker room. He wants to be let loose, and I get it. He's a receiver. You can't always just, placate to that. But I do believe their best way to go forward this year is to have a good balance of both. I'm not asking them to be Joe Burrow, make them Joe Burrow, but I do think you got to get those guys involved, because I think it'll open things up for Saquon Barkley too. You know what I mean? Right now it's more simple, but I don't know what you think of that. I'm looking for more of a balanced attack offensively, but I understand why they're not doing it, because they are 19-1.
Yeah, every year is different. I mean, it's not all like, if you want to do that, like we'll go back to the start of 2022 and talk about, it's some things do have a progression from one year to the next, and some things are totally different. And this is a situation that's totally different. New offensive play caller, a totally different right guard. You've got, injuries on the front with Dickerson, and just, again, it's, all of these guys played deep into the season last year, and none of them were in the preseason, which is fine. I don't care about playing starters in the preseason. I prefer one game, I think, for guys to play a half just to kind of get it going. But they're 3-0, and they're going to figure. I think the overall thing is I have confidence they'll figure it out. They have solutions. It's not as if there's no chance that they can get Saquon Barkley going. Like, there's so many levers that they have that they can pull to fix whatever things are not working on a given week. And it's just really going to be a matter of how quickly in game can these guys make adjustments. And so far, it seems as though they've done a decent job making in-game adjustments. Last week was a little slower than I think we would have liked, but they eventually got it going.
Yep.
I think the most positive thing about this team, let's be honest, this is the best era of Eagles football. With all due respect to Ray Diddy, I'm not going to go back to 1949 and 1950, but certainly in the modern era, this has been the best stretch of Eagles football ever. There's only been a few teams in history that have won 19 of 20 games, and they're one of them. I did it on purpose, but I snuck it into Nick Sirianni, and I think I caught him off guard. And I think I got a somewhat honest answer. He had earlier in his press conference yesterday, he mentioned a football building has to be a little bit different than the outside world. And I brought that back up, and I said, when he hears the word conservative, what's the disconnect? Why do you think you're not conservative versus other people think you're conservative? And he gave a pretty good answer from the standpoint of, obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. We can't wrap ourselves up in that. And he went to basically ball security. And our players' jobs is to go out there and execute, play with great fundamentals, blah, and all the nonsense. All right. But does it simply boil down? And I think it does. But from your guys' perspective, does it simply boil down to, if we don't turn the football over, we're going to win the football game? That's how talented. And how can you sustain that when you have players that want the football? Because clearly AJ's doubling down. Clearly Jalen wants to throw the football more. You saw it in the moment with Pam Oliver. He receded because he's had time to think about it. But in the emotion of that moment, he gave you his real thoughts. How long can Nick Sirianni keep it up and keep everybody on the same page?
If they win, if they keep winning, and they win another Super Bowl, they keep winning, everybody's going to stay on the same page. And I think especially again, if Saquon Barkley gets going, then the conservative play calling makes a lot of sense. When Saquon Barkley is rushing for 175 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns, and you're winning games by 10 points, you don't have to do a lot throwing the football. But I do think they need to understand that. I mean, I give AJ Brown all the credit in the world. There's so many wide receivers in this league that would be going scorched earth. Even winning 19 of 20 games would be going scorched earth on the coaching staff with how often he's been targeted, or the lack of targets and the lack of production. And he doesn't do that. I mean, he really is trying to get the team to look at the whole board. And he's got a lot of wisdom, more wisdom, I think, than most star wide receivers in the NFL. So I think I have no problem with anything he said. As a matter of fact, I think he's been speaking so much truth about where the offense is. But I think it's going to be what it's going to be under Nick Sirianni. They do want to prioritize ball control, and we saw in 23 a little bit when Jalen and AJ go off script that it's not great. So some lessons were learned maybe in 2023 to just kind of look, you're going to get your shots. You're going to get your opportunities. You're going to have games where you're the man, and we're just going to figure it out week to week. And as long as they're winning, I think whatever style they use to win is it's going to be accepted, because how are you going to complain about winning football games?
Yeah, I just wonder how much that margin for error closes up. I mean, you bring up Saquon Barkley. Hey, I completely agree. Johnny Mack on this show often says, he talked to a general manager last year who says this might be the greatest offensive line I've ever seen, talking about last year's offensive line. They're not that right now.
Not right now.
So it's like, all right, if you factor in, okay, last year 19-1. Yeah, a lot of those games, as I pointed out, were last year. Last year was a different football team with also a historic defense, where running the ball gives you that, you have a bigger margin for error because of that. I think I'm Team AJ right now, John. Listen to AJ, man. Come on.
I've always been Team AJ.
And by the way, I don't think, the other thing I don't like about this conversation is it feels like it's like 2 extremes and that's it. It's like, we need the context. Like, I'm not asking you to be Joe Burrow, and I also don't think we need to pass for 91 yards in a game. You know what I mean? Like, where's the middle where ground. You can, where you can find the truth and the right place to be. That's where I'd like to get to, but I understand it's either like all conservative or all aggressive. I don't think it needs to be that.
And I'll say this too. The big question, I think, is where does Jalen Hurts fall in this whole conversation? Is he team ball control, or is he team AJ? Because I don't think he talked about wanting the straitjacket taken off him and last year. And that was, I think, an indication that he wants to be more aggressive. He certainly seemed on the sidelines like he wants to be more aggressive. Yeah. We've been talking about the conservative play calling for 4 years, going with the last 3 years, really since 2023. And Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of this football team. He's the guy who makes the decisions for where to go with the football on the field. So the offense is going to go how he wants it to go, essentially. And so I think that's the big question, is like, is the conservative nature of this offense, is the way that they run the offense, is the kind of like the predictability of the formations and what they're going to run, is that because that's what Jalen Hurts is comfortable with and what he likes to do? Or is it what Nick Sirianni wants to do? And Jalen Hurts is the good soldier and he's doing what he's told, but he would really like to open things up a little bit more. I don't really know the answer to that question. And Jalen Hurts is not going to give you a deep, insightful answer on that. He's going to give you kind of the guarded, cliche speak that he normally does, and that's fine. Whatever. I don't get a sense for what Jalen Hurts really wants to do with the offense and how he thinks it's best to win. He just wants to get a W at the end of every game, and I think that's the most important thing.
At John Stolnis, make sure you follow John on the X platform. You can read him over with our buddy BLG at bleedinggreennation.com. Does a tremendous job, obviously, gearing up for Red October. Hopefully it lasts a little bit longer this year than last year. I think they're set up, the Phillies. So if you want to be a dreamer, potential World Series championship, potential Super Bowl, back-to-back Super Bowls, how excited would Philadelphia be? They're in a position, certainly legitimate contenders in both sports. Not so much basketball and hockey, but you can't have everything.
Not even close on those.
Can't have everything. Good to catch up with John Stolnis. I'll leave you with this one, John. I think we do know, and I think to your point, what you just said, I think Jalen Hurts' emotion told you he's Team AJ with Pam Oliver after the game. I think Nick Sirianni's history in Indianapolis tells you he's willing to shift the offense around the quarterback. He sold Jeffrey Lurie because they built 3 different offenses out of circumstances in 3 different years because they lost Andrew Luck. That was easy to build an offense, but he had to retire early because of injuries. They had to build an offense around Jacoby Brissett, which looked completely different. Then they had to build an offense around Phillip Rivers, which again was easier, but looked completely different from the Jacoby Brissett offense. He has proven that he's willing to mold his system around the strengths of his quarterback. I think this is their thought that this is the best way to win with Jalen Hurts. And all they do is win. So I have a tough time criticizing it. But people want to see the passing yards. It's crazy to me. I'm like, who cares? Now I get it. The problem is real life comes into it. And then you have the receivers. At some point, as good as teammates as AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are, at some point they're going to think about, boy, what if I was with so-and-so, Joe Burrow, or with what would I be doing? But where Howie cuts that off is he pays them.
Yeah.
So I think there's way too much complaining about this organization. And I'm usually the negative guy. I'm like, what am I missing here? Everything they do, all they do, they may never lose again, John.
Yeah, I think there's always just the worry of sustainability, and they've shown that they've been able to sustain playing the way that they have played over the last 2 years. 2023 is always going to be in the back of people's minds because you could see that it was it was a castle, but made out of matchsticks, and there's always that concern that, and when you look at the talent on the offense, they should be better than they have been through the first 3 games of the season. And so there's just a little bit of like, what's going on here? Why aren't we opening it up? Why is it a struggle so much? And they should have lost the game on Sunday against the Rams. That should have been a loss. That didn't need to be a loss because the offense was playing too buttoned up. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be very interesting to see what this offense looks like in week 4. I have no idea what direction they're going to go in here against the Buccaneers.
Make your pick real quick, John. You reserve the right to change, but make it here on Birds 365.
Honestly, this has kind of felt like a schedule loss since the beginning of the season. I mean, they're due for a win in Tampa. They're due to give this team a little bit of a comeuppance, but I don't think the Eagles are going undefeated this season. This feels like the right time for them to drop a game. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be competitive. I'm going to pick the Eagles. First time I've picked them to lose a game, I think, in 2 years, but I feel like this is going to be a close loss on Sunday afternoon. I don't think I'm going to be panicking afterwards, but I'll say Buccaneers win this game. I'll say it's something like 27-24.
Wow. 19-1 Birds, and you're going on the opposite side. That's good stuff.
I probably won't pick them to lose the rest of the season. All right. But that's
right.
Yeah.
All right, John. Good stuff, man. We appreciate you joining in today on a short notice. So thanks so much, brother. We appreciate it. We hope to talk to you again soon. Make sure you guys follow him at John Stolnis. Read his work over at Bleeding Green. And listen to his Phillies podcast as well. They're great stuff as well. So, John, thanks, brother. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, bud.
Up there from John Stolnis joining us here on Birds 365. Great show today. We're going to have Rob Maaddi coming up in hour number 2 as well. Johnny Mac, some good conversation there with John Stolnis. I tell you what, I was looking up, Reed. I brought up Reed Blankenship, John. We got to talk about this. He's been really bad.
Yeah, he has. He hasn't been
Graded,
great.
again, it's PFF, so it's not perfect. I understand that, but
that's why I bring up Saquon. Look at Saquon's numbers.
yeah, he's bad too. But let's just stick on Reed for a second. For safeties who've played more than 20% of the snaps, he's ranked 83 out of 84. And then if you get rid of the 20% minimum and you look at every safety who's played a snap in football this year, he's 121st out of 123. 2 spots behind our old friend Kevin Byard at 119. Not good, John, right now for Reed Blankenship at a
no, but it's all been, again, the sample size is very low. That's why
very
I'm not.
small.
And,
Yep.
I said, with Saquon as well. But to be fair, neither has played very well in the first 3 games. With Reed, again, it's all coverage. He's struggled in coverage, and you saw it with Devontae Adams, and that's the most notable play. And again, it's such a, like, I don't think Vic is angry at him for that. He knows it's tough duty. He knows Devontae Adams pushed off. He knows the savviness of the receiver. But when you're grading, it's a negative play. It's a negative play. But there's a lot of context to it. And the point why I brought up the CJ stuff, it's like, well, just play CJ with McGoobie. There's more stuff that he does. That
would never happen, right? If let's just say, live in a world for a second where CJ did come back, he would never replace Reed. It would always always be.
I mean, he's the leader of the secondary. You heard Slay talk about it last year before he left. He's the guy who calls all the signals. He's the guy who gets everybody lined up.
Yeah, and CJ wasn't very happy about Slay saying that, if you remember correctly.
And, Vic had said it previously anyway. He's the leader of the secondary. So he's got a lot more responsibility than Drew Makuba or CJ last year. And, that's part of it as well. But he's got to play better. And his history says he will. And if that's halfway through the season and he's that low, then I would start to have some concerns. But he's been a 3-year starter. He was 9 of 88, 18 of 95, 29 of 98 was his worst season. I think he's going to revert back to form at some point. But yeah, it hasn't been great. It's fair to say that.
Yeah, and Makuba's been ranked 30th out of the 84 when you do more than 20%. So Makuba's playing decent. Again, small sample size. We know that. Something to keep an eye on, though, moving forward here in the year. And it is a contract year for Reed. We thought maybe he'd get one.
Yeah, that's not working out well for him.
That's the part I think. Yeah,
if he's betting on himself, but plenty of time to. And again, the defense as a whole, I don't think he's. The defense as a whole has been pretty good, and I don't think he's been egregiously bad. And especially when you talk about red zone defense, I mean, their red zone defense has been tremendous. So he struggled a little bit in space, and that's probably the weakness of his game to begin with. So it makes some sense, but I think it'll get better.
I agree. We'll see how it happens here. Let's get to I think we got one super chat. Yep, got one super chat. Keith, thank you, brother. J-Mac, CJ Gardner-Johnson reminds me of Patrick Beverly from the NBA. That's an interesting comp. I don't know. I like Beverly.
I like Beverly when he was here. I didn't, but I wasn't covering the team at the time, so I can't tell you what he is as a personality. I can tell you that CJ's a handful. I don't know if Patrick Beverly is or not. I can't speak on him, but I would think that CJ's a better player than Patrick Beverly, at least when he was here. But I don't know if he's that kind of handful. Then, I mean, there are certainly players like that in every sport, but yeah, CJ's a handful.
Yeah. He's a handful, but they did go to 2 Super Bowls with him. So the handful is big, but it can't be lead weight. I mean,
I'm trying to be kind. They also moved on after making 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, they did, but the fact that they brought him back for the second one shows you that they value him just enough. I mean, if they can feel like
desperation is desperation,
right? Well, the desperation worked out for him. So again, I mean, if it was such a big problem, I don't think they would have went to 2 Super Bowls in the first place. But you're right, you did bring up a good point. They go to a Super Bowl and he's on a pretty decent contract, like not expensive, and they still move on from him. So it tells you how the Eagles feel about it, but. Maybe if they get back into a desperation situation, they go down that route. I don't think they will, but we will see. I'm going to thank everybody for being here today. Got a good crowd in here as always. Hit that like button, guys. Trying to get to 200 likes today. Stick around maybe on Zander Time today. Maybe we'll do a giveaway. We got to see if we get some support on the channel. We'll do that. So appreciate everybody for being here. We'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, one more topic here before, and then we'll get to Rob Maaddi coming up here on Birds 365.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Thursday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Give him a follow on X at JF McMullen. You can follow me at Zander Krause. Appreciate everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. 200 likes is the goal today. We appreciate all of you guys for helping us continue to grow here. Johnny Mac, Nolan Smith, obviously out for this next 4 games minimum, probably more than that, or through the bye week at least. What's the solution here this week specifically coming into Tampa? More time for Jalen Hurts, obviously. Azeez Ojulari, will he be dressed for his first game? How do you see the Eagles kind of managing the loss of Nolan Smith in the short term here?
Well, I think a lot of it's got to fall on Josh Uche and Jalen Hurts. And from that, I mean, Zadarius Smith had mentioned, which is kind of funny. Zadarius is a great guy. So he was asked, Obo, Azeez basically step up and fill that role until our brother gets back. And he was asking you, it's not much for me. I'm going to get in either way. Zadarius is the A.J. Brown of the defense already. I mean, he's just truthful. And everything about him is great from a media perspective, but he's the problem is he's got to play more in base, and more rundowns, and that potential means he's going to get worn down because you need him as much as possible on obvious passing situations now, even more so. You needed him before, but even more so now. And the more you have to use him in certain other packages, the more likely he will get worn down, because that happened to him in other places as well. They needed him on the field a little bit too much. So that's my concern with Zadarius Smith. But yeah, it's Azeez and Obo got to step up.
Yeah.
And Uche's got to play a little bit more.
Uche's had a decent role though, right? Uche's played, I think, 54 snaps so far this year. So
yeah, he's very good in the first 2 games, and he wasn't that great against the Rams. So again, it's very small sample size so far, but he was very good, and but in short spurts, not a ton of snaps. Now he's going to have to play more snaps, and keep up that same kind of effectiveness. But yeah, it basically comes down to who does Vic like better, Azeez or Obo. And we're going to see in Tampa.
John, no outside chance you don't think, right, that Jahad Campbell plays a little bit more edge in this time that Nolan's out, right?
No, other than, again, what I said when we were talking about the run support. He might drop down to make it a 5-man front to help with the run support, but he's not there yet when it comes to technique and fundamentals. And he's had edge rushing snaps in both the preseason and a few in the regular season. They've generally not been good, because NFL tackles are, Vic said that this week, a grown man's league. I mean, right now, he's just a speed rusher, and those guys, eat that up if you don't get that first step on them. So no, I don't think he's ready to help there, and especially he's hurt too.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's day to day, and he's playing so well at linebacker. I don't know why. Now people have speculated next week Nakobe's eligible to have his practice window started after the Tampa game. So that doesn't come into factor this week, but next week, you could speculate, well, if Zach's not healthy, if Jahad's not healthy, you can put Nakobe in there and you can move this guy. We got to see if he's healthy, because he put it on Instagram doesn't mean he's ready.
Yeah, right. 4 or 5 weeks ago, by the way, or whatever. Yeah. He put that out there. See you week 5, he said.
But that's not in play this week.
I wonder how much that would change, though, like what Vic would do with Jahad. I mean, Jahad, I think, is lined up, almost 40 times on the D-line. It's kind of as an overhang player. Still, obviously, has a long way to go there.
And that's more about, like I said, it's more about run defense.
Yeah, right.
He does not look ready from a pass rushing perspective to be an edge rusher. But, other than he did it at Alabama, or he was brought to Alabama to do it before he moved to linebacker. So he's a tremendous athlete. And if they wanted to get to the offseason and say, I want to make this guy an edge rusher, and work the whole offseason and try to get the technique up to speed and all that kind of stuff, maybe it's a different conversation. But if you look at I don't know what you have on P. If you look at the pass rush grades, he's got a great grade. He doesn't have a great pass rush grade.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, he's a rookie, so he's got time. He needs to develop in some of those areas. But to your point, yeah, probably not going to be the solution right now. John, you think Howie would tap back into the outside market and maybe bring another player in? I'm not going to go there because I don't think he's getting moved now. But Trayvon Walker. I've been calling for him, so I got to live up to it. I know he's not coming though. But you think Howie would go outside?
No, I think Jacksonville's probably playing better than they expected. So
yeah,
I don't
their
think
defense is playing really good, and Trayvon's playing really good. So yeah, they're not moving him right now.
Yeah. So as you get to the trade deadline, maybe desperation seeps in if guys aren't performing, and maybe you entertain it again. But right now, I mean, they carry these guys. It's like, at some point we're saying, why do you need so many edge rushers? Well, this is the point, now you have an injury. So one of those guys has to step up. That's where you are.
Yeah. Going to be interesting stuff. Who else is having a pretty good start to their year is Josh Sweat in Arizona. I think he's up to 2 sacks already, playing pretty good. For them, kind of wish we brought back Sweat, but it is what it is.
A lot of money.
Is it $18 million for an edge?
Yeah, it is for, again, Howie always, if you want to frustrate Howie Roseman, I'll tell you the way to frustrate Howie Roseman. Talk about something like it doesn't exist in the overall world. In other words, say what you just said. Josh Sweat's pretty good.
I wish
what are the ramifications of paying Josh Sweat $18 million in Philadelphia? What can't you do?
I don't know. Well, what you tell me. What couldn't they have done?
The whole point, and this is a certain reporter does it every year. I won't bow, and Howie just loses his fucking mind. And he says, as well, Howie keeps control, but you can tell deep down he's boiling. It's not a vacuum. If he could say, dude, it's not a vacuum. The last time he did it was the CJ trade, because he got the question, Kenyon Green got cut. He's like, you could see him up there. He's like, he's frustrated. It wasn't about Kenyon Green. It's not a vacuum. A lot of it was about, again, creating money was part of it, but the larger part of it was
the other stuff. Creating money. I don't think creating money was as much as
it was. No, it's legitimate.
He was a pretty, his contract wasn't that big. I mean, the contract we're thinking about for Reed Blankenship's a lot bigger than what Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I get, but again, it's not a vacuum. It's not. They're trying to build up the cash. It's cash over cap. It's not about the cap. It's about cash. They spent more money than anybody else over the past decade. They're trying to rebuild that up for what's coming. They spent their whole. It wasn't just CJ. They spent their whole off season doing that.
Yeah, they looked for any spot where they felt like they could.
Exactly.
So he was one.
And they just sort of rebooted, and because they know what's coming and they know what they have to do, or what they project that they're going to have to do. From the standpoint of guys that are in-house, never mind guys who are out that they could potentially bring in. So anytime you look at something individually, that's the easiest way to frustrate him, because it's this whole big pie of things. Now, he doesn't make every right decision, but again, some of these people that question the decisions that go wrong are the same people that want to go, oh, he got Tank Bigsby, he got John Mechie. It's like, these deals aren't like, Howie deserves his flowers for a lot of shit. But there's also this disconnect with, he does everything right and everything's a home run, and a lot of deals are just, all right, that's just a guy.
Yeah, I know. I think this is like Daz is right though. I mean, and I get it. It's because he's the player that he is. But they talk all this about the cap and everything. That literally tried to sign Parsons for 47. So it's like, I know that player is way above the demarcation line, but it is interesting. JH says, I think Sunday was an odd defensive game for us. Even Bond missed some tackles. I think we'll be back to form by midseason. I think the defense has been.
The defense has been solid, but to the point real quick about Micah Parsons, again, what are you trying to frustrate me? Like, how that dude's different. You're comparing a guy who they think is one of the best edge rushers of the generation.
Yeah, well, I know that. I'm just saying, when you speak about the saving cash over,
it doesn't. The two things are not mutually exclusive, because they're winning. they're willing to pay money for Micah Parsons, doesn't mean they're willing to overpay what they feel Josh Sweat or Isaiah Rodgers or somebody like that, who they'd like to would have had back if they could, but they have too many good players. It's not. Yeah.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying if it's the right player, they will come up with the cash as they always do. That's the Philadelphia Eagles for you. So good stuff there. We got Rob Maaddi in the green room. Let's bring him up right now. Senior writer for the AP joins us here on the show. You can follow him at Rob Maaddi. Rob, welcome into the show, man. How you doing on this Thursday morning?
What's going on, guys? Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you, buddy. I like to call it the Rob Maaddi Bowl. Bucs, Eagles, they seem to play this game every year down there, Rob. And the Bucs are the one team that has had the Eagles number. And I saw it, by the way, I saw you go viral with the Todd Bowles question about the tush push, and Todd's talking about getting cheesesteaks in South Philly. But he's been one of those guys that has championed the tush push. We'll get to that. But just the Bucs sort of dominance, how's it taken down there? Because people in Philadelphia look at it like, and the Eagles are changing their schedule and they're going there to try to acclimate to the heat. How do the Bucs look at their success against the Eagles?
I think sometimes, guys, certain teams have a quarterback or a coach's number, and they just can figure them out. And it seems it's been that way with Todd Bowles and Jalen Hurts. His numbers against Bowles' defenses going back to when he was the defensive coordinator before Arians left, 1-4, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I think it's 14 sacks in those 5 games. Had some 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's getting some numbers. If you'll recall, one of the playoff games, and they got a lot of garbage yards and garbage touchdowns at the end. So but it's just one of those situations where he's somehow found a way to perplex and maybe make Jalen Hurts look. Jalen's had a ton of success, but when he's faced the blitz and the schemes, and he talked about all the tools that Todd Bowles has, he's kind of looked like a more of an average quarterback, which we know he's not. He's a top-tier quarterback. He's a Super Bowl MVP, and this week will be another challenge for him. Now, it is different, too, in that Jalen didn't have A.J. Brown for those last 2 games.
Yeah.
The Eagles are a different team, guys, with A.J. Brown in that lineup. So, he's 1-4 against Todd Bowles-led defenses, but when you're missing a key piece like A.J., I think that makes a big deal. That makes a big difference, and he's going to have them this week. We saw what it looks like when they just throw the football in the second half against the Rams, and maybe they'll come out and be a little bit more aggressive. The Bucs have a great run defense. They haven't allowed a team 11 straight games to rush for over 100 yards, and Saquon's at 3.3 per carry. So it might be a little tough go for Saquon this week against Vita Vea and those boys up front. Now, the Bucs are missing Kalijah Kancey, another key piece. He's out for the season. Logan Hall's got a groin injury, so he's iffy. They continue to lose guys on the offensive side. We can get into that in a bit, but I think it'll be a different week for the Eagles in that, AJ's ready. Bucs got some issues on the defensive side, and I just feel good about Sirianni and Hurts, and even though Kevin Patullo, I'm sure he's been under some fire.
He's taking some heat, Rob, already.
3 games in, but I love what they were able to do down 19. And if they approach this game as if they're already down and come out with that mindset and that mentality and that attack and that aggressiveness, I think it could be a different outcome for the Eagles this time. I already picked them. I picked the game. I picked them to win, picked them to cover.
There you go. Good stuff, Rob. Rob, what do you make of the Eagles offense, man? It's one of those things that you just mentioned, Kevin Patullo. 10 quarters, they can't move the ball well. A.J. Brown's got like 35 yards through 2 games, and then they just go crazy in half number 2 last week. What do you make of it? How do you view it from your perspective?
So sometimes adversity shows you what you really are and who you can be. And when you're forced into a corner and forced into a situation where that's all you can do, I mean, you're down 19 against a team with a terrific defense, a strong front four, a guys who can get to the quarterback. They know you're going to pass. Everyone in the building, everyone knows that you have to throw, and you come out there with the success that what did Jalen have, over 230 yards, something like that in the second half. A.J. Brown can beat anybody one-on-one. A.J., I believe, sometimes can beat he can beat double coverage. He can beat triple coverage. Like there were some throws there that could have gone either way, and he took them from that defense. And sometimes it just takes that kind of mindset, like, hey, they can know what we're doing. It's almost sort of like the tush push. When everybody knows when it's coming, now it's on you to stop it. But there's so much confidence in that offensive line and in the entire offense to execute that tush push that nobody can really stop it. Well, it could be the same way with this passing offense. Okay, we're going to throw. This is coming, but Jalen can make those plays. There were some terrific throws that he made, and I think that sometimes it takes seeing that, and it's 3 games in for Kevin Patullo. You're 3-0, and I remember
he's taking heat.
I remember last year when they knew it's week 4 to Tampa.
More,
They're 2-2, and then the following week might have been a bye, then Cleveland, then the whole thing with Sirianni, and they haven't lost a game since the last loss in Tampa Bay, in which Jalen has played the entire game.
Yep.
So
17 straight. We're at a full NFL season when he starts and finishes. They have won the football game. That's where they are. So that's my question. Look, they believe, and 19 of 20 proves that they're right. They want to win. They call it the double positives. They want to win the turnover battle. They want to win the explosive play battle. Now, sometimes they haven't won the explosive play battle. What they win almost weekly is that turnover. The numbers, Rob, are insane. 40 takeaways, 9 giveaways over that 19 of 20 stretch. Is it as simple as, hey, if we don't turn it over, we're going to win the game, and that's why we're going to play the way we play?
I think you could say that across the board to a lot of teams in the NFL. If you don't turn the ball over, you're already at an advantage. But you got to give credit to Jalen Hurts for his ability to make those plays and not turn the ball over. What do you have? 5 picks last year. There was the stretch this season. That was the 23 season where
he turned it over.
He turned it over a lot, and he's fixed that, and he's found a way to be able to. And sometimes you need the help of a receiver to be able to take it away or play defensive back. We don't always see that. I saw Russell Wilson on Sunday night throw a pick where Malik Neighbors had zero interest in playing defensive back, zero whatsoever.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need that help. But Jalen's done a great job. Now he had the fumble last week where it's pretty hard to hold on to a ball when you get just absolutely annihilated like he did on that sack. But if you don't turn the football over, you're already at an advantage. And I don't think you can play so conservatively that you're not putting the ball in the air, because turnovers can happen, and it's just guys taking care of the football. Look at what's happened with Baltimore and Derrick Henry. You wouldn't think a guy like Derrick Henry is going to fumble, and he's had 3 fumbles in 3 games, 2 of them in key spots in the fourth quarter. And it's, he's about as good as it gets. He's headed to Canton at some point when his career is over. So it's preaching, protecting football, and making sure you do that. And they've done a tremendous job of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Rob, talk to me about that Bucs team, man. Baker Mayfield, really, he's one of my favorite stories in the NFL. Just totally resurged since he's been down there in Tampa. But now without Mike Evans coming in, I think they're supposed to get Chris Godwin back this week, maybe Tristan Wirfs as well. How's that offense look through 3 weeks? And, where do they stand today? I know they got some injuries over there, but still Baker's done a good job in prevailing, getting them to 3-0.
Yeah, it's been a pretty remarkable, impressive job what he's been able to do, considering who he has blocking for him up front. Last week against the Jets, they didn't have any of their projected starting 5 in those offensive linemen in those positions. They moved their center, Graham Barton, over to left tackle to replace Tristan Wirfs. They moved their left guard over to center. They lost right guard for the entire season. Their right tackle's out for at least 4 weeks. Tristan Wirfs he came back to practice in a limited form yesterday, which means he could potentially be back in the lineup after having an arthroscopic knee surgery in the offseason. Now, we don't know if he's going to come back at the left tackle spot where he's been an all-pro or the right tackle spot where he's been an all-pro just because of the changes. So there's a possibility he can go on either side. But they started 2 guys last week who made their NFL debut, first career start, and they had 5 holding penalties on 1 drive. First drive of that game, they had 5 holding penalties and still scored a field goal, a 19-play drive where they had 5 penalties and still scored. And then on the as far as his targets and his weapons, Mike Evans is down. It seems like this is 2 years in a row, 3rd time in his career he's had a hamstring injury. He's going to be out a few weeks. Godwin practiced again in limited form yesterday, and he hasn't played, guys, since a severe dislocated ankle last October.
Yeah.
So even if he's out there, like, I would anticipate he's going to be on some – you haven't played football in 11 months in a game. He's got to be on some sort of pitch count, maybe – 3rd and long situations or obvious passing downs. I just can't imagine that Chris Godwin's going to step in after and he's a tremendous player. Last year he played 7. We all know what he can do. 7 games, he had 50 catches, 500 plus yards. He was well on his way to another great season. So Jalen McMullen, who was the number 3 receiver last year, hasn't played all year. They just lost their backup tight end, who's sort of like a fullback. Keith, he's a fullback tight end. They call him their tone setter. He's a guy who's like really helps them in the run game. He's out for the season. So for Baker to be able to lead this team to 3 comeback wins, final minutes of the game, it's been pretty remarkable, pretty impressive. But at some point, living that way is not sustainable. And you're going to face teams like the Eagles who you're going to have to put it together for all 4 quarters, and you can't figure it out in the final minutes because they're finishers. And I think this could be that week where Tampa Bay just runs out of luck, and they're so shorthanded, so undermanned. I know the Eagles have injuries, but what's Nolan Smith's situation? Is he's coming back at some point, right?
Yeah, he's coming back. They're targeting after the bye, so I believe week 10 against Green Bay is what they're targeting. But same triceps as what he tore in the Super Bowl, so tweaked it. Obviously, they want to be cautious, Rob. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people are panicked about the Eagles' injuries. I've been bringing up. Well, the Bucs are more banged up than they are by far, and you kind of ran it down. Just to wrap up their offense, though, one of the positives, I've said the same thing. Chris Godwin, great player, but he's not going to be 100%. I think a lot of people think you're in stasis and you come out and you're the same guy. You sort of have to ramp up to it. But the rookie receiver, Egbuka, has been tremendous. What has he added? And also that running game, Bucky Irving, and they've been explosive from that point. By the way, also Big Fangio raved about Baker, raved about him.
Yeah, I saw that. I asked Baker about that yesterday, and I said, Vic's kind of a fan of yours, and he said, Uncle Vic. He said that's what everybody calls him, and he said, tremendous respect for Vic. So that's pretty cool. Little mutual admiration society there. That's the big thing about the Bucs offense last year, guys, is that they were top 5 in rushing and top 5 in passing. Bucky Irving stepped in last year as a rookie. I mean, small guy, low to the ground, hard to bring down, shifty. And really elevated that run game. They still got Rashad White, who could step in there. They saw it a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football against Houston, 10 carries, 65 yards. Also can catch some passes coming out of the backfield. So that kind of helps, and they've got that balance there. And John, as you mentioned, Emeka Egbuka he's been tremendous, just stepping in. The poise and the maturity and the readiness like that kid had just coming out of Ohio State. His Mike Evans has raved about his route running ability. Everybody loves his ability to just step in, and he doesn't look like a rookie. He feels like he's a guy he's played some big games, of course, in his career. You do at Ohio State, but he handles the media so well. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and he's made some big time catches. His first NFL debut. He catches a game-winning pass in the final minute. So I think that's going to help them certainly overcome the loss of Mike Evans for a few weeks, even if Chris Godwin is certainly limited in the way when he comes back. And they've got a lot of talent, a lot of playmakers. Last year, they were 0-3 in the 3 games that Evans missed. Their tight end, you got to look out for, Cade Otton. He stepped up in those 3 games and became a primary target. I don't know if with Ibuka back and Godwin potentially coming back, I don't know if they're going to have to rely on Cade Otton as much this time around, but he'd be somebody to look out for.
Rob, you brought up Saquon Barkley a little bit earlier. I think Eagles fans, me included, are kind of waiting for that breakout game from Saquon. Just 3.5 yards a carry, or 3.3 yards per carry so far to start the year. Well, Vita Vea and the Bucs have typically been a tough team to run against. Now, you did bring up Kalijah Cansey's out. That's a big loss for them. How's that run defense been in Tampa? And do you see this as a week where Saquon could potentially get going?
Yeah, they've been tough. They've been tough for a while now, and right now 6th in the NFL, 87 yards per game that they're giving up. It's 11 straight without a team rushing for over 100, and they may even get a little bit more, another weapon there to stop the run. They signed Desmond Watson, the 400-plus pound defensive tackle from Florida, to the practice squad. So. Ironically, this week in practice on the scout team, he's playing Jordan Davis's role, but Jordan Davis is way slimmer than Desmond right now. So, I don't think that Desmond Watson will be ready to step in off the practice squad and be on the field this week, but they've got plenty of, you mentioned Vita Vea. He's one of the guys who I think is one of the more underrated, underheralded stars across the league. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, not comfortable in front of the camera. Funny dude. He's just not that guy who's going to be out front talking about his game. Right. And it may hurt him a little bit when it comes around the Pro Bowl and All Pro and all that stuff, because he's been a dominant guy in the middle of that defensive line for several years now. And he's a load, and he's somebody that the Eagles got to take care of and account for every time. And although having said that, I do feel that Saquon, I'm watching the Rams game the other day, and it looked like he was one tackle away from a long run, right? Breaking one. We missed those 60s and the 70s that he was breaking off last year, and that can happen.
He still looks explosive, to your point. He just hasn't had the big home run.
It can happen at any given handoff, at any given time with Saquon, and it's just one arm tackle away, one trip away, and it could be this week. You never know. The Bucs have had some trouble tackling in their secondary in the past, so if he gets through the front 7, he can go to distance.
I want to talk. I do want to get to the tush push, because you had that nice moment with Todd Bowles. But more for those who don't know, Rob is the AP's lead NFL writer, so he's as plugged in as it gets when it comes to the league. And I want to talk about it from the Leafs' perspective, Rob, because a lot of people came out of that Kansas City game. Jason Kelce came out and set it up here. I don't know if you saw it. He's like, it's done. It's done. He admitted he was lobbying for it to get back. Jeffrey Lurie down at the meetings this year. From the league standpoint, do you think they're going to pick it up again? Do you think that's the mentality that they want it out of the game, or have you still haven't gotten a feel for that yet?
Well, first the excuse was it's an injury.
Yeah,
it's a play that can lead to injuries, right? And then there was no data to support that. So they had to come up, they had to move off the injuries. Well, we don't have enough data to support it. But truthfully, guys, Rich McKay, the competition committee chairman, said this in March, before a couple of months ahead of the vote. He said most of the conversation in the room was, is this a football play from an aesthetics point of view? People just don't like the way it looks. It's boring. It's ugly, all of that stuff. And for that reason, at some point, I feel like they'll revisit it, and they're going to need a team that's going to, the way it works is a team presents the proposal, and then they eventually can come to a vote on it. And the way to do it is to go back to the old rule where you're not allowed to push or pull a ball carrier.
Which I'd like that rule, Rob. I think they shouldn't have changed the original rule.
And that's the only way to do it. But in the Eagles' defense, like at this point, we're 3 weeks into the season, and that's all every week. That's all we see when we're watching the game. You're seeing the Eagles run the tush push, and they're zooming in on, oh, well, there's a false start, and there's a false start, and all of that. Whereas last week, and then I'm watching in the 4 o'clock games, and the Chargers run a tush push, and Justin Herbert converts for a first down. There was no camera angle zoomed in on the Chargers offensive lineman. Hey, did they jump offside? Did they false start here? So let's be consistent. Like if you're going to criticize the Eagles week in and week out, and I'm just talking from those calling the game and those watching the game, let's whoever else use it, because other teams are going to use it. Other teams have used it, not as much as the Eagles. Let's see some consistency in the way it's scrutinized when other teams are using it. But it's legal for this season, and to the Eagles' credit, they've perfected it. They've done a tremendous job, and if you've got something that's a weapon for you, why would you not continue to use it? It's effective, and they're going to do it.
As long as it's legal, use it.
If I'm not mistaken, the Bucs have been one of the best teams at stopping it, right? They're one of the only teams that have really kind of.
Well, that's Beta, man. That's Beta, right in the middle.
That's what I mean,
right in the middle. Yeah, he's a load to move. You know what?
Yeah, and that's Todd's mentality of, hey, they figured something out. They've got a creative play. We've got to get creative and learn how to stop it ourselves.
Week 7, I want to talk about week 7. And I want to talk about week 7 because when Rob was based in Philadelphia, he and Carson Wentz had a good relationship, obviously. And well, it was fun to see Carson out there. I don't know how close you are with him these days, but I think that's going to be a fun little story. I think he's got a real chance to. Unfortunately, J.J. McCarthy did not look great in the first 2 games, to say the least. I think he's got an opportunity, no matter what Minnesota says, that if he continues to play well, he's going to be the starting quarterback. What's your thought, and how big that would be for Philadelphia if you got a minute at Minnesota to face Carson Wentz and the Vikings?
It was one start, right? And he looked good. He looked comfortable. He made smart decisions. He protected the football. It was interesting that he's finally getting an opportunity to throw to Justin Jefferson 5 years later after took Jalen Rieger over Justin. So it's kind of nice to have, and you saw the trust in just throwing the ball downfield to a guy like that. But Kevin O'Connell he did wonders last year with Sam Darnold, and he's certainly one of those guys that we view as a quarterback guru. So if they've got a strong defense, a tough defense, Brian Flores' defense is fierce, and as long as the quarterback goes out there and is smart, hits the open guys, does it quickly. Like I think Carson was getting rid of the ball in like 2.3 seconds.
That's strange. We didn't see that here.
He took 3 sacks early on, and then he started getting he was just getting rid of the ball quickly, hitting the open guys. And whereas JJ was holding on to it, I think, for a little bit over 3 seconds, which it's hard to do in the NFL. You're going to go down, and if they keep winning, right, there's no reason to rush the young guy back in, especially when he didn't look all that great. He's the quarterback of the future. They've banked on him. They've invested in him. But we know what it's like in the NFL. You get somebody on a roll, and they continue to go out there and play. Now, it's difficult for them this week because they're going to Ireland. They're in London next week. So there's that adjustment. Where you go from being home and all of that stuff to being out of the country for 2 weeks. And I wonder how that can impact the team and impact Carson Wentz. So I'll be interested to see how they do. 9:30 in the morning on Sunday.
Gotta get up early if you want to watch football.
It's going to obviously interfere with going to the Bucs game. So it's watching a game on the phone as you're driving, which is never a smart thing to do. What I'm going to do on Sunday is have a phone in the car while I'm driving to a game.
Yeah, good stuff. Rob, real quick, John opened up a little macro NFL here. I'm going to stay in the NFC, but Who do you kind of see as the top teams in the end? I think Eagles are obvious. I think Lions are probably obvious. I think the Rams are right there. I actually think the Bucs have a good chance to compete, this year. Who do you kind of see as some of the real legitimate Super Bowl contenders in the NFC this year?
Yeah, Xander, all of those teams you mentioned, I think the Bucs fly under the radar every year, and then you get to the playoffs, and that's the team that nobody wants to face, right? But Green Bay's got to be the other one. Green Bay with Micah Parsons, I believe, instantly elevated them into Super Bowl contender status. I kind of thought last week against Cleveland might be that you get caught looking ahead to Micah's return to Dallas. And, I didn't go pick Cleveland. I wish I did. But it was just one. And the Browns have such a tough defense. It was just a classic letdown game ahead of an emotional return. I think they go out there this week in Micah's return to Dallas, and they roll up on the Cowboys. And they're going to be, they're going to be a team that if they stay healthy, and it's the same thing for everybody. If you stay healthy, Jordan Love last year he got injured in week 1 against the Eagles in Brazil, and it kind of hampered him throughout the season. He wasn't able to do and duplicate what he did the previous season. They've got a balanced offense. They can run the football. JAKIB seems to get a touchdown week in and week out. They've got some playmakers at receiver. And then what Mike has been able to do for the defense, like look at Gary's numbers. I think he's at 4.5 sacks.
Yeah.
He'll take those double teams. He'll take those triple teams. He may not get the numbers. He may not get the sacks that he wants that are reflective of a guy who's an all-pro caliber player, but it's going to help open up things for other players on that defense. So that's going to be an interesting matchup when the Eagles face Green Bay. I talked to Matt LaFleur a few weeks ago, mentioned the tush push a little bit. And coincidentally, he was like, I don't really care about it. It's funny because it's people.
Rob, explain to people, the Packers are sort of like the NFL wants a team to take and say, propose the rule. They don't hate the play. They're not.
Yeah. And that was presented by Mark Murphy, the CEO at the time, who it's a weird situation in Green Bay. They don't have an owner. And exactly. he had to resign because he turned 70 and it's written into their bylaws, even though he's he can completely fine and everything else. But I posted about Bowles twice this week. Once when he made the comment on Monday, and then yesterday when I told him how he's become sort of the hero in Philly. And then there'll be those few people like, well, his team voted to ban it. Yeah, Todd can be for it, but when the owners get into that room and they're convinced through the meetings and the conversations, and the coaches care about, and coaches have that competitive fire, right? Like they want to go out there like, oh, you can't beat me. I can stop you. Owners are looking at it from a different point of view. They're looking at things from an overall integrity of the game, what's in the best interest of football long term. So they're voting one way. Now, some will take into if you're Kansas City, I'm sure you take into account Andy Reid, who's been around for almost 30 years. Depending on coaches' relationships with their ownership and how much input they have on that, how much sway they have. But I think more coaching. Now, there's guys like I know Raheem Morris came out in March, and he was so against it. And we've heard other coaches talk about it. But from Matt LaFleur's perspective, he's like, he was telling me, he's like, I don't care about it. We want to go out there and we just got to figure it out and stop it. But ownership votes one way and coaches are allowed to feel a different way. And it'll come down to whether or not they can get 2 more votes next year.
All right. At Rob Maaddi.
Although that's, you may get 2 more votes against it, but you still got to maintain the other ones.
Yeah. You got to maintain. Yeah.
They could sway. They could go back and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's not, maybe not. So.
Make sure you follow Rob on the X platform. Read him all over apnews.com. Obviously, easiest way to get it, but does a tremendous job. One more League One. I'll let you go on that. To me, the story of it's only 3 games, but the story so far, Indiana Jones, man. This is unbelievable. It's got an Eagles tint. Shane Steichen, obviously, is doing wonderful things. I think you mentioned Kevin O'Connell before. That little stint he had in Minnesota. So 2 perspectives. Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones with the Colts, and then New York football as a whole, man. What I mean, the Jets and John, they can't get out of their own ways.
Yeah, Daniel Jones done a great job, and there's Indianapolis is a organization that is just the way they're run, the way they're operated. Big tough loss losing Jim Irsay. He was a guy who I had a nice relationship with, and certainly missed that guy. But I know his daughters, and they're trying to carry on that tradition and win for Jim, and they kind of carried that into the season. Daniel Jones is doing a great job. Is it sustainable? I think so in that AFC South, because as much of a surprise as they are at a 3-0 start, Houston Texans, I didn't anticipate, two-time defending AFC South champions, are off to an 0-3 start. Things are not going well for DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud over there. And there's some weird frictions thing. You saw what happened with CJ. Okay, so and then Jacksonville's better. They're improved. So I think it could be sustainable. But the other big surprise to me is either the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be 1-3. Like, who would have saw that coming? Right. Let's take tie. One of them is going to be 1-3, and only one team has ever started 1-3, the 0-1 Patriots, and won a Super Bowl. And for both of those teams, it's Super Bowl or bust. But yeah, you asked about New Jersey football. And
New Jersey, yeah.
They don't play in New York. The only New York football team is what? 3-0. Yeah. The two New Jersey football teams, like you said, man, can't get out of their own way. I think it's going to be tough go for Jackson Dart this week against Jesse Minter and the Chargers defense, but you want to throw him in there and see what he can do. Listen, I don't think Russell Wilson's finished. He threw for 450 against the Cowboys. I could probably throw for 200 myself against the Cowboys secondary, but like you saw, he still got that ability. Like, he can make some plays, right? If I'm the Bengals, I'm asking for Russ or Jameis or somebody there. Like, you got T. Higgins and you got Jamar Chase. Get somebody to throw him the ball. I know they went 4-3 with Browning years ago, but still. So I thought it's interesting that they're making that move this early, because I thought that Dable and Shane could buy themselves more time, as in for next year, by waiting on Jackson Dart, because you don't want to bring him along this year, correct?
Or just the optics, Rob. The optics of Saquon one year, and then you have Daniel Jones this year. Like, how do you survive that if you're Joe Shane and Brian Daboll? It might not be fair, but the optics just look awful.
Unless Jackson Dart steps in there and does a remarkable, incredible job, which is going to be hard to do.
They need an offensive line, man. He's not playing good there without an offensive line.
That's the problem. That's just if you don't give a quarterback time, I don't care who they are. Like Tom Brady in his last year in the NFL, like he went from throwing for 5,000 yards to looking like a mere mortal because he had no run game and he had to throw in like 1.1 second.
Yeah. So, and you brought up CJ Houston, CJ Stroud, offensive line. That's what it is. You can't play offense in this league if you can't block people. Doesn't matter who you have. Can't play offense.
Bro, real quick, Rob, last one for me. I want to close up on this. As a younger guy, breaking into sports media, I always try and look for, people who have been around, try and learn from them. As a man of faith, I've always been inspired by kind of your ability to mesh that with your work. You've even launched the Faith on the Field show. Just talk a little bit about that, Rob, how kind of your faith has guided you in your life in sports media, and then the launching of that show, where people can find it and things of that nature.
I appreciate that, Zander. And for me, like, faith is such a big part of my life because I know who I was before I built that relationship with the Lord. And I know how I valued things of the world, chased fame and chased money and chased glory and chased all of that stuff. And it kind of left me unfulfilled. And it wasn't until, I kind of felt like I hit rock bottom in my personal life to where I turned to the Lord. That was the one place that I can go, and it changed my perspective, and it helped me tremendously, changed the way I thought. So for me, when I talk about faith, it's not about making you or anyone else believe the same things I believe. It's about, hey, I went through so much and I know where I could be. Like, I was on a path of self-destruction at one point in my life. and he turned everything around for me. And I just want to offer that to other people. Like, hey, have you looked here? People are always looking for help. They're always looking for self-guidance. They're always looking for answers. And while you're doing that, hey, have you just tried this? Just maybe try what worked out for me. So I use these conversations with other athletes who have kind of either been in the same position or maybe didn't hit a rock bottom, but have always had that balance in their life, and just kind of inspire other people to look at a higher power and look at the Lord. So it's faithonthefieldshow.com. Every episode we've ever done in 7 years is on there. It's on several radio stations, sports radio stations across the country. So appreciate it if people check it out. We're also now a nonprofit too. We're a nonprofit ministry. You got some cool things like this hat.
I love the hat, man. I might have to get one of those hats myself.
You know what? Drop me a line. One's coming to you. That one will be on me. Send you My Story, His Glory t-shirt too as well. Also very cool. Aside from that, just launched this year a new YouTube show podcast for the AP. It's called On Football with the AP's Rob Maaddi. The latest episode just dropped with Micah Parsons. You probably saw that clip that was a little taken out of context by some folks.
Shocking. Somebody took it out of context.
Micah tells me that. I said, how's it going to feel to sack Dak Prescott? He said, painful, because it was emotional to him. Like, he's a friend.
Yeah.
Like, Micah Parsons is going to say it's going to be painful. Like, come on, man. But, some great people out there who are able, like Pat McAfee. Love Pat. He goes out there and shows the whole clip on his show, gives it the proper context, gives it the proper perspective. But that dropped. I've had Josh Allen, Matt LaFleur, Micah Parsons. So it's going to be hard to sustain that level of guest on that show. But people hopefully can check that out on Football with me, the AP's Rob Maaddi.
Good stuff. Rob, thank you, man. We appreciate it. Make sure you guys follow him at Rob Maaddi, one of the best in the business. Rob, we appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again soon. All right, brother?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bud. There's Rob Maaddi joining us here on Birds 365. Great show today, Johnny Mac. Two great guests, and John Stolnis and Rob Maaddi. I love talking to Rob. Rob is a wealth of knowledge, and he obviously knows a lot about the whole league, as you mentioned, AP senior NFL writer. So knows a lot. Johnny Mac, great show today, man. We're getting ready for this Bucs game, brother.
Yeah. And as Rob explained, he lives down there now in the Tampa area, so he's around the Bucs a lot. For all people concerned about the Eagles being banged up, and I get it, the Tampa Bay is far more banged up than the Eagles. They're really struggling from an injury standpoint, especially on the offensive line. And they've been living on the edge. Very similar teams, both been living on the edge. But I think the Eagles are better equipped to go in this time and sort of exercise some demons, because I think, obviously AJ is going to be healthy. Devontae's going to be healthy. I think Lane's going to play, but we'll see as the week continues. And those were the three guys that were missing last year. And I think it had more to do with that than it had to do with the heat, the loss down there.
Yeah, good stuff. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on the show today. I thought both our guests were awesome today, and I'm ready for this Bucs game, man. It's going to be interesting. I'm kind of with Rob, though. I mean, I know people talk about, it's our kryptonite and everything. I don't really buy into that, but Eagles have a propensity to correct narratives, John, in a big way. I feel like this is a week where they could kind of go down there and
it's crazy, and I we'll still talk about it. It's one of those things, but because they play such a unique way. And other people don't play like they play. And, they're always so, but for those, they should check out Nick's answer to my question, about we can't have the same mindset of outside the building, which is understandable. And they're proven to win football games. So, I mean, until that changes, I don't think you're going to see much change in how they approach the game.
Yeah. Agenda for today for the Birds?
Practice is at 2:05, 2:10-ish.
You getting anybody before, or no? You're not talking to anybody?
No coaches today. Nick talks Wednesday and Friday, so he'll talk. And they're leaving Friday after practice for Tampa, day early. So he'll talk tomorrow. And then they're off to Tampa. And
so I guess they're doing their walkthrough down there.
Yeah, they'll be doing their walkthrough down there to acclimate to the heat, which Vic already blew up. But
we should have asked Rob about that too.
Yeah, should have.
Can you acclimate to the heat, Rob? And one day he probably would have been like,
I've
been living here for years. I'm not acclimated.
Yeah, because Rob's so plugged into the NFL as a whole.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask him some league questions as well. But and he knows how the process works, which I've tried to explain on this show. I mean, just because the Packers, it has nothing to do with the Packers' jealousy, and I try to explain that to people, and hopefully he did. That's how the league handles these things, and they get teams to put forward these rule changes. Sometimes they're serious about them, sometimes they're not serious about them. But when they get really serious about them is when they just let the competition committee do it, and they're not concerned about the PR aspect of it. So you see it worked from the league's standpoint. People blame the Packers. And one of the things, as Rob pointed out, they don't have an owner. That's one of the reasons they do it. So
right. They're like a pariah, and they don't have to pin it on anybody, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but as you know, Matt LaFleur doesn't care. But anyway, tangent to end the show.
Good stuff. Johnny Mac, appreciate it, brother. We will talk to you tomorrow on a Football Friday, getting ready for week 4 versus the Bucs, my friend. Good stuff.
All right. Thanks, all.
All right. Thanks, Johnny Mac. There's Johnny Mac joining us here on Birds 365. A great show today, everybody. Appreciate everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. 2 great interviews, I thought, with John Stolnis in hour number 1 and then Rob Maaddi in hour number 2. I really love Rob Maaddi. I've always liked him. Even before I started doing these shows, he was one of my favorites. So love good stuff from Rob Maaddi. Appreciate everybody for being here today. We got some things to talk about here on Zander Time. We'll do that today. I see a couple of you guys debating in the chat, I guess, whenever you invoke the name of Jesus. It's not everybody can handle it. So it is what it is. We're going to do that here. I'm going to do that. This is my channel, not yours. And I want to talk about it. And if I want to talk about it, we're going to do that. So I thought Rob, Rob's Faith on the Field show is pretty awesome. It really is. And, I love the way Rob just handles his business, man. He's really cool. He has awesome interviews with athletes about the Lord and about their faith and things like that. So really cool, man. It's really cool. It's, pretty inspiring. Again, I tried to say it to Rob, but I'm a younger dude getting into the sports industry, you know what I mean? And a lot of times as a man of faith, as a young professional trying to get to the next level, get to the next phase of my career, continue to build, on my career. You look at a guy like Rob who's been doing it for so long and has had great success. And the way he's able to bridge that gap is just, it's powerful. It's meaningful. It's an inspirational in a way. So I appreciate Rob, and I also appreciate his football knowledge as well. Obviously very plugged in with the NFL and everything. So, good stuff. And I appreciate Rob Maaddi. Maybe I'll take him up on that hat offer, right? Get one of those Faith on the Field hats. Speaking of hats, you guys like this new JAKIB lid? Look at this new JAKIB lid. So I launched, I was playing around on the website that makes the merch, for JAKIB Sports, and they had this rope hat. And I'm like, oh, I got to get one of those made. So I do have an extra one here. If somebody becomes a legend member on the JAKIB Sports site, I'll ship it right to you. Fresh in the bag. All right. Fresh in the bag. I know my boy Rich ordered one today. Rich, thank you, brother. Big Mike says, Xander, Rob is awesome. Big Mike, Rob is always awesome, dude. Big Mike, the thing I like most about Rob is behind the scenes, he's just as awesome. He practices what he preaches. He lives by the way he talks. So I'm a big fan of Rob Maaddi for sure. Slager says, Slager, you shouldn't. All right. Your hat is undefeated, brother. All right. Your hat is undefeated. So another big comeback win for it, Slager, this past weekend. I saw you put that in the chat, so I appreciate it. All right. So good stuff. Guys, Nolan Smith out. All right. Nolan Smith sent to IR. Me and Johnny Mac talked about it today, this morning here. And that's a big loss, man. That's a big loss. And it's not something that we expected to have, and yeah, Rich, he's mentioned the strap. Yeah, the strap's white. You can see that. Got the white strap back. So it's nice. It's nice. But losing Nolan Smith, man, it's not ideal for this football team. Obviously, a team where the edge has been a small concern. I don't think they've been a big problem through the first couple of weeks. I mean, I think in week 3 you saw them failing to set the edge a little bit. That's probably why Kyron Williams was able to run to the outside, and Blake Corum even with the LA Rams. So they ran the ball kind of successfully. But, I think the one thing to factor in, and we mentioned this on the show today, but the one thing to factor in when considering the Eagles' run defense is Vic does kind of not want them to run the ball successfully, but it's kind of built to be able to all right, you can get your 5 yards running as long as we limit the passing game and the explosive plays. We're kind of doing our job. And when you don't have as good of a personnel grouping as we had last year, you're not going to be able to take it all the way. Last year, they were great against the run and against the pass. It's just the way the cookie crumbled last year, but not going to be able to do that every single year. So if you're Vic, the defense has been so good in terms of slowing down the passing games and, keeping a lot of points off the board. You kind of live with the 5 yards of run. You know what I mean? Even last week you saw it. They ran for 160 yards in that game or whatever it was between Kyron and Blake and, anybody else. And the Eagles still held them, to what they did. They stopped them, held them to 4 field goals in that football game. Obviously only the only second half touchdown they gave up was, I think, 12 yards out because of the Jalen Hurts fumble. So the defense has been good, man. The defense has been really good and way ahead of schedule. Something I'm going to have to push back eventually here. I want to get a little deeper into the season before I start to tote that. But, John and Cilio both were projecting 15th ranked defense, 18th ranked defense, 12th to 15th ranked defense. That defense looks ahead of schedule to me, man. I know, again, it's too early. It's too early to be hey, we're the top defense of football or anything like that. But that defense looks ahead of schedule, man. The defense looks ahead of schedule. They look like they got some players on that unit. I think Makuba's had a good start to the year. Jahad Campbell's the highest graded rookie right now in pro football. So he's playing excellent, and I feel good about the defense. I really do. Vic Fangio obviously always gives you that sense of confidence, but at the same time, Vic has had defenses that weren't even top 20, let alone top 5. He's not perfect. Look, he's a human. If you don't have the right players, so got to give Howie credit for getting the guys in the room that continue to, to elevate and play better and have the upside potential I think that Vic is looking for. And then the credit to Vic for obviously, to get it out of him. So it's I feel good about the defense. I really do. Now you lose Nolan Smith and then you start to wonder, okay, I rely on Jalen Hunt, Josh Uche, Ojulari might have to step up. You know what I mean? Now you're all right, how much are we going to be able to manage it, with some of these losses? So, I was not feeling great about the loss of Nolan Smith yesterday. Admittedly, I think it, I was kind of fuck a little bit, I don't want to curse too much, but it's kind of what I was thinking. So we'll see how they prevail with it. All right. We will see how they prevail with it. All right. Andrew Dirk, I appreciate this comment. He says more people need to share their testimony. God works. Yeah. Pretty awesome testimony from Rob Maaddi there. So, great stuff, and we appreciate him joining the show today. Rob is a cool dude, man. He's always been a cool dude. So definitely awesome. All right, Keith says, bro, our edge rushers need to step up. Well, Keith, now they're without Nolan, so you're looking at the pass rushers and Zadarius, who's been here, 3 weeks? Jalix, who I always say this. I'm optimistic about what Jalix Hunt's going to be in his career. But you also have to be realistic about the acclimation period for a player who was playing safety 4 years ago at Colgate or Cornell or wherever the hell he played. I think it was Colgate. Was it Colgate? Where did Jalix play before he went to Houston Baptist? He went to Cornell. I got to remember that because my grandfather went to Cornell. Look at me, college dropout. My grandfather went to Cornell. Come on. Come on, I gotta live up to the hype here. I gotta live up to the expectation. So, but again, second-year player who was drafted in the 3rd round, who was playing safety at Cornell 4 years ago. Is it fair to expect him to be a consistent every down edge rusher? Probably not yet. I think we got to give him an opportunity to kind of develop and continue to progress in his career. But I think he's done a good job so far, and we'll see how he continues to progress. Cornell is a badass school. It is. It's a badass school. Yeah, my grandfather went there. I told you that, Reyes. My grandfather went there. So I remember back in the day. Abe says, Xander, where's my pack gear? Abe, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. That's on Pat, bro. I don't have the shirts. I just sent him your address. He said he was going to send it out. All right. But I appreciate you guys showing up for Pat too, man. I know he kind of mentioned it on the air. I didn't want to say it too much because I wanted Pat to have the opportunity to share it, but he kind of has talked about it on the show. Yesterday he said he's had some of the, some of the infusions or whatever they're called. And Pat's battling a rare, a really tough form of cancer right now. So keep Pat in your prayers, guys. Pancreatic cancer is no joke. Speaking of, actually, this is a weird fusion here. As I just mentioned, my grandfather, who went to Cornell, was a second generation. His father was the first generation immigrant right from Italy, 100% Italian. He died of pancreatic cancer 1 month after my mom's wedding to my father. So 1 month after my parents' wedding, and my grandfather I never met him, but the stories about him are unbelievable as a man, and apparently the way he lit up a room, and he's dancing on the dance floor with my mom on her wedding day to my father. 1 month later, my mom and dad flew home in the middle of their honeymoon because he was about to die. So pancreatic cancer is no joke, man. Like it's bad. Yeah, it's probably one of the worst forms of cancer you can get. So just keep Pat in your prayers, guys. And Abe, I know you want the gear, and I think he will send it, honestly, Abe. But if it takes some time, that's why, dude. Like you're going through the chemo and you're going through the stuff that he's going through, man. It's it just, dude, you just don't have the energy, dude. Like, you know what I mean? You're beat, you're tired. You can, Pat used to come here and do the show from here. He used to sit in my studio, which was a pain in the ass every week because I had to get out of my studio. But he doesn't even have the energy to get out of the house, so he's battling through it. But he said something to me that I'll share with you guys. You might be like, why are you asking him to do the show? First off, I don't own that show. Pat, wants to do that show, and he airs it on our channel every single year. But, he said something to us, and he said, I want to do the show because it's like, it keeps me going. You know what I mean? It's like what I look forward to. So Pat loves doing the show, and just keep him in your prayers, guys. I hope he keeps battling, and, it is very real. It's kind of been an interesting experience for me. Obviously, I pray for Pat every day, but just seeing it of like, holy shit, man, like life is fragile. And like certain times, like things happen and you get reminded of that really quickly. But just knowing Pat, anybody who knows Pat further or watched the show last year, Pat lost his son last year, right in the middle of the beginning of the season last year. I think it was last September or last August. So he lost his 38-year-old son, last year. And now here he is, battling pancreatic cancer. So it's just like, count your blessings, everybody. Keep your head high and, try and live every day like it's your freaking last. I know it's a cliche and people are like, oh, I don't want to hear that bullshit. But like at the end of the day, dude, you don't know. We don't know, we don't know when this shit is going to end, when we're never going to have the privilege to wake up and be here. I say it a lot on the show that I honestly feel blessed to just be here. Like, forget the materials, forget like the success, forget anything. Like, I'm breathing right now. Like, that to me is enough of a blessing to feel blessed and to feel alive. So don't take it for granted, everybody, and keep Pat Callahan in your prayers. And it means a lot when you guys go in there and you comment in. And Crowley, I appreciate you being here, man, because you were saying, Pat, we love you, Pat. Keep fighting, guys. He reads those. He reads those, and when you're up against it in the way that he is, those messages go a long way. So I do appreciate all of you guys for kind of showing that love to Pat as well, and make sure you lock in on his Wednesday show because it's keeping him going, man. It really is. All right, it's keeping him going. So we appreciate it. Rich, let me see this. Rich says, how do we get those rosaries? So my sisters are working on. They ordered a bunch of green beads. My guy. Chris Langston's in here. Chris Langston, I think I said that right. I'm getting him a rosary. My sisters are making them. So my sisters have a big Instagram account at Everything Krause. If you guys want to go check them out, I think they have like almost 90,000 followers. They're pretty awesome. But they make rosaries, and for people, it's one of their ways to kind of try and give back and tie in their faith with what they do, which I appreciate. And my sisters are both younger than me, but they're impressive people, and I'm proud to call them my sisters, obviously, and they make the rosary. So I'll reach out, Rich, if you want to email me or something, Zander at JAKIB Sports. I'll do it. They ordered some green, for the Eagles Nation. So maybe I'll start promoting them a little bit. Not crazy, just like if you want one, you can reach out to me. I'll have my sisters make you one. They make them. They hand make them. Like I watch them make them. They make them literally bead by bead, by hand. It takes them at least an hour and a half per rosary, and they basically sell them at cost. Like they're not making much money on them or anything. It's just something that they like to do. It's something that they feel, is tied in with their faith. And I think it's a powerful thing. So I do love that they do that. Anybody that did want the rosary, though, you can reach out to me or drop it in the comment, drop it in the chat, and I'll get back with you. So they're awesome, though. They're awesome. Actually, I have one. My rosary from them is in my car. That's my car rosary. So, but I appreciate you reaching out about that, Rich. I'll keep you posted. All right, brother. So good stuff, everybody. Thanks for being here today. I think I missed one super chat. I missed it for a reason. It's Mills, one of our resident Cowboy fans. Y'all can have Trayvon Diggs. He sucks. Well, you guys are playing man. You guys are playing zone. He's a man corner, dude. You switched up the defense on him, and now he doesn't look good. All right, now he doesn't look too good. But so let me see. Did my sister send me a? Let me see if I can get a picture of it. See if I can get a picture of it. All right, and I'll show you guys it. I would love one Tuesday. That's pretty cool. Fly Eagles Fly. I'll let you know on it. Appreciate everybody for being here, by the way. Did anybody become a legend member? I'll send the hat to them. No, nobody did. That's all right. All good. So appreciate it. Unapologetic Christian. I like that name. Says, there is life after death and the Lord will honor your choice. Love you. Appreciate you, brother. Love you too, man. Thanks for being here. All right. Thanks for being here. All right. Yeah, they're cool. I just texted my sister to see if she can send me a picture. She was supposed to send me some pictures of, but she never did. She's out of that. She's at like a workout class or something right now. Let me see if she sent me the photos.
Eagles rosary.
Oh yeah, here we go. I got a video of it. I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up for you guys.
Eagles rosary.
You can hear her yapping in the video. My sister's media savvy. She is. She's like, we're the Krause family, man. My dad's been in media for 40 years. Here I am doing shows, and my sister and my two sisters with a big ass Instagram account. Isabel's great on camera, though, man. She's good at it. She's like a natural. Some of you guys might remember her. Who watched my parade coverage? Anybody here watch my parade coverage? Lucius, I saw your email, bro. Pumped you got the jersey, man, and I was super pumped, Lucius, to see your email about he's your favorite Eagle, because I didn't have a big kind of I couldn't pick any player when it comes to where you were and what you needed. So the fact that it was Devontae Smith and then you hit me back, you're like, yo, I love Devontae Smith. So I was super pumped. Lucius, I'm happy you got the jersey, man. And thanks for being a legend member and kind of supporting the channel, as always, Lucius. So we appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see if I can pull up this pull up this fucking I don't think I can get the noise if I do it this way. Give me 1 sec here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up. You guys will like these. These rosaries are really badass, dude. They're badass. I love them. I think they're absolutely epic. I really do. I don't know if I'll have noise here, but you can see kind of what they look like. Think I have noise. Yeah, no noise here right now, but tell me if you can hear them. I don't think you can.
Eagles rosary. I see it like that. White crucifix. Beautiful green. How beautiful these beads are.
Yeah, so that's the Eagles green. It's awesome, right? Oh, you guys can hear them? Okay, cool. Isabel loves them. So that's the rosary, man. They look pretty cool. They're pretty awesome. So yeah, my sisters are dope, man. They're dope people. They're cool people for sure. You guys would like them. They're cool people. Yeah, Reyes, they're beautiful, man. Not only do they hand make them, like she literally put that together bead by bead, literally bead at a time. She puts the everything to make them. So very cool that they do that. So yeah, anybody that wants that, you can. If you guys want a rosary, some people want them. Please email me, and then I'll just kind of I'll connect you guys with my sisters because they're cool. I think you guys would appreciate it. So if you guys want a rosary, just DM me. All right, and I appreciate it. Kimberly says, my uncle is high in I'll get your rosary blessed. Oh, wow, in the Vatican. That's awesome. Yeah, we get them all blessed. We get them blessed at by like our local priest, but you're not allowed to sell things that are blessed, but we just do it kind of out of the goodness of like, hey, we thanks for buying one. We got it blessed for you. So Dan says, keep them away from this chat at all costs. Are you talking about my sisters? Nah, that's fine. They can handle it. Believe me. All right. Abe says, you could do a female sports job. My sisters don't know a fucking thing about sports. They would be great at it, but they don't know a thing about it. All right. They don't know a thing about it. Actually, I was telling Isabel, so I just brought up who watched the parade. Yeah, my sister, she was epic, dude. She's so good on camera. Isabel comes up. She's a freaking natural. I posted that on the channel for anybody that wants to go back and rewatch it. But, my sister was great at the parade. I was kind of feeding her the info. All right, Jalen Hurts, but I will say this. Isabel, my youngest sister, she produced the Maxwell Awards with JAKIB Sports when we did it a couple years ago. And that was the year that we met Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni and Big Dom and Brandon Graham. So Isabel met Jalen Hurts backstage, and, we talked to him for a little bit. Jalen's a cool dude, man. He's exactly like he is. He's not a different guy behind the scenes. So when we were in the green room kind of waiting for Jalen to win his award, we were in the back with him. Let me see the picture. I think I have a picture of me with Jalen Hurts. Where's the tux? I thought I was wearing a I know I have a photo with me and Hurts somewhere. I can't find it. I've showed it on the air before. No. Thought it was Mohegan's son. But anyway, so she met Jalen behind the scenes, and so that was cool. Caesar says, I'll be more than happy with one of those beautiful rosaries. I would really benefit from them right now. Absolutely, Caesar. I saw you emailed me yesterday. I'm going to get back to you after the show today. Caesar, I'll drop a comment in the email about it. All right, brother? Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you. I think everybody could use a rosary, even those who aren't Catholic. And, not everybody likes Catholic. I don't know why. I don't really get it. But I know Christians and Catholics go back and forth. It's like, guys, it's about Jesus Christ. That's what it's really about. But some people, I don't know, they don't like that we like Mary for some reason, the mother of God. But I really believe the rosary is a powerful weapon, man. It really is. It's a spiritual thing, and I've never felt closer to Jesus through the rosary, honestly. So that's why I've never understood why people are so weird about that. But interesting. My guy SB Ricky, there he is. What's up, brother? 37 today, man. Great show. Blessings to Pat. Yo, SB Ricky, thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. And I'll tell you what, SB Ricky. I remember SB Ricky from, he sent me the video or the picture of him in the Jalen Carter jersey that he won last year. He had the fresh Jordans on and shit. SB Ricky's a dope dude. But happy birthday, brother. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel. And I hope you have a great day, my man. Happy birthday to you. All right. I hope happy birthday. Good stuff. Great to see you, SB Ricky. All right. Now they're glass beads, man. They're glass beads. I think they're are they glass beads? I know they're not like the I don't want to say cheaper, but like they are the more expensive bead. They're like heavy, they're heavy beads. They like that. They want to use good quality stuff. So all right. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. Watch me meet you. Nah, he wouldn't hate you, Reyes. He would like you, man. He would like you. Jalen's a cool dude, man. He's a cool cucumber. He really is. He's I'm trying to find the picture of me with him, but I can't find it. When was that? What year was that, Maxwell? Was that the 23? I think it was 23. 23, probably right after the year. Now I'm at 24. I'm going to get to 23. Yeah, 23. Probably when? I think it was like March or April. February. There it is. There's your boy with Jalen. There's Big Z with Jalen Hurts. can see me rocking the suit, rocking the tux. Look, there's me, my dad, and Isabel with Mark Farzetta. Where's Thomas Farzetta? There's my boy Mark. Where we are up there. So that was good, man. We produced the Maxwell Awards. That's a fun event, man. That was a fun event to produce. And there's Jalen on stage. And you can see Isabel's on the right in the blue dress. So you probably can't really see these pictures, but it is what it is. Man, the spam calls. I'm getting so many more spam calls than I've ever gotten. Caesar, thanks, dude. Gives 5 memberships. Look at that. Look at that. Now, Farsi's tall, dude. Farsi's probably like 6'1", 6'2". Farsi's probably 6'1", 6'2". So, yeah. Nah, he's bigger. Curtis says, Z, I'm a Protestant. I could go into it, but as long as someone believes the power comes from God and not the object, who cares? Curtis, I'll go back and forth with you too, brother. Don't worry, all right? You look like you I could tackle him, Born. All right? Dude, Pope John Paul is iconic, Kimberly. Yeah, your husband's definitely jealous. Your husband's Polish, Kimberly? He's definitely jealous. Pope John Paul is a legend. He's a legend. Are you kidding me? Pope John Paul is a legend, man. Pope John Paul is a legend. All right? So. Oh, interesting. Ian East. I can give you some insight on this. Ian East says, flying out next Friday. Is Skinny Joey's cheesesteaks better than John's roast pork? Well, it's probably tough for me to go that far. But I'll say this about Skinny Joey's, Ian East. It's worth getting. All right, I have cheesesteaks all the time. I've had them for years. I grew up. I love cheesesteaks. I've always loved cheesesteak. I don't know. It's like probably my weakness when it comes to unhealthy food to eat. I love cheesesteaks. Maybe that's the Philly in me. I don't know. I fucking love cheesesteaks. I really do. I really love cheesesteaks, man. Loaded up, extra fried onions. Give me whiz. I don't really care what cheese. Sometimes I like whiz, even though it's gross because I'm like, yeah, I'm eating a cheesesteak. Give me the cheese whiz. But Skinny Joey's is badass, man. It's good as shit. It really is, Ian. It's like really good. Like I was really impressed because I'm like, oh, is this kind of a marketing hype thing with Skinny Joey and Joey Merlino and Little Snuff and those guys? But it's not. It's good, dude. It's worth getting. Ian, if you've already had John's roast pork, I would say go to Skinny Joey's for the experience too. It's cool, man. You'll probably see him down there. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It is. It is. Extra side of dipping whiz, Reyes. You sound like me. If I'm eating a cheesesteak, Reyes, I'm not afraid to put on a couple pounds. You hear? You feel me? All right. Here we go. Andrew sounds like he understands. Catholics pray to Jesus through Mary. In the military, you don't gripe right to the captain. Chain of command. Exactly, Andrew. Good way to look at it, my friend. Good way to look at it, my friend. I've never understood, you love Jesus, but you don't like the vessel that God, our creator, chose to bring Jesus onto the earth as the son of God, as the man. Come on, man. I don't get that. All right. Skinny Joey's so good, and I'm from Springfield. I guess, Fredo, when you were in town, is that what you got? Yeah. Yeah. Skinny Joey's is good as shit. All right. I know. See, this is why you don't want to talk about this stuff, because then you get people in here who are, whatever. It is what it is. We're a football show. We don't have to debate about it. DM, you're entitled to your beliefs. Other people are entitled to theirs, too. All right, Caesar, thanks for the gifts today. I'm almost feeling like that might be worthy of a giveaway. All right. Crowley, I think that's a fair point. All right. Here's my boy Jamil. What's up, brother? See, Boulevard. You used to be Boulevard for the OJ. You used to be Boulevard. Now you're Jamil Rashad, which I like too. That's probably your real name, which I appreciate. All right. Which I appreciate it. Boulevard, I hope everything's been going good with you. I know you got married last year. I hope everything's all good with you and your beautiful wife. I hope your marriage is going well, my friend. He says, make sure you head over to Fetty Sayal in Fishtown and get you some brisket, some Southern barbecue, you dig? I might have to do Boulevard. I might have to do that and send you a picture on Instagram. All right. I'm gonna have to send you. I'm gonna have to do that and send you a picture on Instagram. Can you vouch for this place though? Because if I'm going into Fishtown, I better have a real good reason to go into Fishtown. All right. All right. Fatso, is that how it's pronounced? All right. Is that how it's pronounced? All right. You vouch for it. I'm gonna have to do it. You know, I did live in Houston for a couple years, and I got some barbecue there. All right. Fishtown for beef. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. That's interesting. All right. All right. That's interesting. This is why I don't talk about religion. I credit Rob Maaddi for figuring out how to navigate these circles, because look at this chat. I mean, you guys, live and let live. Let people believe what they want to believe. Please, you guys are like sound obnoxious in the chat. Seriously, some of you guys sound totally obnoxious in the chat. Xander, I'll send you to a place called Something Fishy. Damn good seafood. Abe, seafood in Philadelphia is not really something I like to do. I know they get it from other places and stuff, but, you know, I like to eat seafood when I'm like down the shore and I'm like at a restaurant that's like next to the water. And I'm like, at least in my head, I can be like, oh, all right, this food came right from the water. At least in my head, I can like put it together, you know? At least in my head, I can put it together, all right? Tyler Braswell gets 5 more memberships. 5 more memberships. Appreciate you, Tyler. That's 10 new members today. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I got a couple emails about the rosaries. That's pretty cool. Lucius, I saw your email too. That's cool, dude. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Appreciate all of you guys reaching out, man. That's pretty good stuff. Love this community. I really do. Curtis says, Zay, it's because people have no nuance when they think about someone else's beliefs. Protestants argue with cartoon version of Catholicism. Well, there's a lot of Catholics out there who don't even know their own faith, which is sad, but it is what it is. A lot of people like that in any realm, but Catholics specifically, because it was such a big, you know, there was such a big, explosion of Catholicism when, you know, you saw a lot of immigration from Irish and, you know, from Ireland and Italy, and, you know, Irish immigrants and Italian immigrants. Obviously, a lot of them are Catholic, you know, so there was a big boom of Catholicism in this country. And then you have people who get raised up in it and kind of never like learn about it, you know, and that's true for a lot of people. I think that's it's all on their own process with their own timeline, but yeah, that's kind of the part of it, you know. Xander, they all. I know it's like U.S. Foods and like a couple other. I know, Big Mike. I know you're right, but just let me live in fairy tale land, Big Mike, where I can be like, if I'm next to the ocean, now it's a good time to order seafood. If I'm not, I'll take the meat. I'll take the beef and the chicken and the pork or whatever. You know, beef is my favorite. I'm a beef guy. Steak. I like steak. All right. I like steak. All right. So good stuff. Ian, are you flying in this week? I think you said that earlier, but I forget. I know I clicked the comment, but I forget. Are you flying in this week? Yeah, Cisco and U.S. Foods. Yeah, I know. That's true. I know. All right. Next Friday. Oh, okay. So you're in for the Broncos game. That should be a good one, Ian. That should be a good one. I guess I should have known that we're away this week, so you weren't flying to Philly this weekend. But next week, that's pretty good, Ian. Good stuff, brother. Good stuff. You came in last year, Ian, so you get the Philly pretty good amount. You get the Philly more than people who are up to, you know, a couple states away. Ian's like over in the UK. Right, Ian? Is that where you are? UK, right? I always forget. Sorry, dude. You hold it against me. I know. All right. Now I gotta like navigate this chat because you guys are all crying to each other about what somebody believes and why you should or shouldn't believe it. Oh my Lord, y'all need Jesus. Y'all need Jesus, man. Y'all need Jesus. What's up, Diego? All right, y'all need Jesus. I came to the Browns game. Coop's first start. Brandon's record-breaking game. That was a good one. That was a game that Nick yelled at the crowd. Were you the guy who pissed Nick Sirianni off? All right. Were you the guy? Was that you? I don't think so. All right. Bourne says, sensitive world we're living in. It is what it is, Bourne. Yeah, I don't really care. All right. I just try and handle the business that's in front of me. All right. I ain't worried about anybody else's grass. What's that old quote? I'm too focused on my own grass to notice if yours is any greener. I think that's a quote many should live by. People, there's also another quote. Speaking of quotes, get your house in order. Like, I love that quote too. All right. Get your house in order. People have their entire life is in flux and they're worried about everybody else. It's like, get your house in order. I love that quote. I love that. I love Scrapple. Fucking love Scrapple. Bruce, one of my favorite memories of my entire life, basically my childhood too. I used to wake up every Sunday. I grew up about 5 minutes from my grandmother, where my grandmother lived. She used to live in Glenside, right up the street from where the Kazakani used to be. So I talked to you guys a little bit ago about the Kazakani, where that was my grandparents' restaurant. Again, first generation immigrants, my grandparents' parents. So they were here. They all started that Italian restaurant right up the street on Easton Road is where my grandmother lived. And we used to go every Sunday morning, literally never missed a Sunday, every morning, except in the summer, because my grandma would go to Cape May and she lived in her summers in Cape May. But we'd wake up, go to mass, 9:30 mass, and then we would walk up the street. All the kids would walk up the street from St. Luke's Church in Glenside and get to Easton Road where my grandmother lived. And we would go in her house, and she would make the most banging Italian, not really Italian, but breakfast. And we'd have eggs and bacon and Scrapple, and I love Scrapple because nobody cooked my Scrapple as good as my grandmother did. My mom is there now, kind of, but nobody could make eggs that I liked like my grandmother. To this day, nobody. And I still yap at my mom and my girl about this. I'm like, you guys, will you ever be able to make an egg like my grandmother did? I don't think so. She had this way of, I like runny eggs, but I don't like when the what's it called? The white part of the egg, I guess, is like gooey. I don't like that. So my grandma would have a weird ability to make the egg perfectly runny, but the white, like outside of it, was perfectly crisp. And I used to just that was the only time I ever really enjoyed eggs every weekend. So I love Scrapple because nobody made my Scrapple as perfect as my grandmother did. And nobody made my eggs as perfect as my grandmother did. So it's a great memory for me. And now I'm not a breakfast guy. I'll never eat. Part of it's because I do this morning show. The other part of it is because I just never have been. Never been a breakfast guy. But Saturdays and Sundays, I could eat some breakfast. I don't know why. It's just your body knows it's the weekend. And I Scrapple. That's what I want. I don't want bacon, I guess, if it's there, I'll eat it. Sausage I like, and I don't dislike any of them, but Scrapple. Give me fucking Scrapple. I love Scrapple. Z, over easy. The key is a hot pan. Big Mike, whatever the key is, Big Mike, I wouldn't know it because I can barely, flip a pancake when it comes into the kitchen. All right. The women in my life do all the cooking for me. A lot of you guys like to make fun of me for that. I don't really care. It's how I like it to be. And they like it to be like that. They're good with that. So I don't know what it takes, Big Mike. All I know is that my grandmother's eggs were freaking superb. All right. They were freaking superb. So exactly. Scrapple sounds like exactly what it is. It's scraps. All right. No, it's not Crapple. It's Scrapple. It's dope. I love it. It's like pig guts and all sorts of bullshit. I don't know. I don't really care what's in it. All I know is I like the taste of it. All right. Zay, you got to learn the technique. Carry the torch, even if it takes a million eggs to get it right. My friend, I cannot carry that torch. My mom does pretty well in rice, but my mom's an insane cook. Seriously, insane. People don't understand how I grew up. It's ridiculous. How I literally, and the funniest part is my mom worked a full-time job. She still works a full-time job. She would come home, 4 kids, get us lunches in the morning, go to work, come back, make a full course. We never ate out. We were not a fast food family. Now sometimes when we were a little bit, against it with 4 kids, going to private schools. My parents didn't have a lot of money, but so some nights it was pasta. When you're an Italian mom, pasta's big because it fills the tummies. So, but man, she could cook. My mom can cook. But the one thing I always joke with my mom about, the one thing you've never been able to replicate that my Nana did was the eggs. She tries and she's like, I don't know how you like it. I make eggs great for everybody else. I don't know how you like it. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. Nana just did it perfect. Nana just did it perfect. So I don't know. I miss my Nana. She was a great lady, man. She really was. She was the best. There's nothing like an Italian mother. Anybody that has an Italian mother knows that, man. There's nothing like the love of an Italian mother. Nothing. All right. Cream chip beef is fire. I love cream chip beef. Zay, you cook the whites either by blasting the tops of the whites with butter or steam them a bit with a lid. Curtis, I don't know. I don't know if I trust you to be as good as my grandmother. Sorry, brother. But hey, maybe you're right. I don't know. Again, I wouldn't know. I don't cook. The only time I cooked in my life was when I lived in Houston. I lived in Houston for 2 years. You guys can see, though. See, how you do anything is how you do everything. I'm going to show you something. Let me show you something. Just for the people who say, when I did cook, when I did have to cook, all right, let me give you a little glimpse into what it looked like. All right? Let me give you a little glimpse into what it looked like. First off, here's me cooking up a fat steak. Now, you can't really tell what's going on there in terms of the meal. All right, let me find a meal. Here's a burger I made in Houston. Look at that with an egg on it. That's not a good picture of it. You can't really see it. I don't want to delete it. See their egg? That's egg yolk running down the side of it. Like when I did have to cook, I actually got kind of good at it. When I did have to cook, I got decent at it. But the second I left Houston, especially when I met my girl, oh my gosh, I'm like a catastrophe. I'm like a catastrophe when it comes to the cooking. But all good. All good. All right, here we go. Big Mike says, Z's out at the restaurant saying to the waitress, like my Nana. I don't know if I could say that. My Nana was a tough restaurant person. She was, man. She was. She was an exceptional cook. But my Nana was the type of Italian lady who she did not, if her meal came wrong, she wasn't just like the type, oh, it's okay. She sent it back. She was like that, man. My Nana was a special person, though. She was. All right. Jamil, I'll check it out, dude. I'll check it out. Scrapple. Scrapple's my favorite breakfast food. Corned beef is fire. Corned beef is fire. All right. I'm just telling you the technique. Curtis, I have no way to prove whether your technique matches my grandmother's. You're saying I'm telling you the technique, not claiming to be as good. This would insinuate that your technique is the same. No way. Sorry. Some Black says, Xander, did you hear what my Lotta said about the season if it continues like that? I did not. What did he say? Brandon, I'm thinking tomorrow. I'm thinking on a football Friday. I got like $8 in Super Chats today. I'm thinking on a football Friday. And then I'll make a giveaway goal in the start of the show. Remember, Brandon, were you here when I explained this? I also explained that I'm in a much better position giveaway wise October, November, and December. You know, the season money doesn't start hitting until October. So I'm not really in season mode. I bought all these jerseys. I can't give them out every day. I gotta ramp it up. By November and December, I'm sure I'll be Santa Z again, though. I'll be Santa Z. Tyler wants a legend. See, Tyler's got some leg to stand on because he just gifted 5 members. All right. I don't know, Tyler. All right. I don't know. Maybe I'll do 2 tomorrow. I'll do a legend and a regular. All right. I did tease one, but Brandon, it's a dictatorship. All right. I'll tease it all I want and then I'll take it. All right. I can giveth and I can taketh away. All right. Hey, we're already collecting coats, man. We're already collecting coats. We're collecting them already. Already building up the garage at home. Dad says, when are you doing the car giveaway? Dad, when I make a lot more money than I do right now. All right. No, I'm in save mode. I'm trying to boost this revenue, folks, so I can make a little bit more money because I got a lot of life coming up, man. I was looking at this last night and I'm just like mapping out my personal life. I'm like, I'm getting married. I got to get a house for my new family to live in. For my kids, I want 8 kids, 10 kids. I want to have a house for them to live in. Boom. All right. Down payment. Boom. Monthly payment. Boom. Insurance. I'm self-employed. Insurance is very expensive for me. It's not covered by me. It's like very expensive. Whatever you're thinking, it's more than that. My insurance, for me and obviously once I add my soon to be wife, house prices, Sig Lord, as you bring it up, they're insane. All right. They're insane. So I'm like, shit, I got to make more money, man. I got to make more money. I got to keep working my ass off. Ryan, right now I'm at my parents' house right this second. I was in and out. I rented in the Wildwood Crest for like a year. I lived in Houston for 2 years. This is my parents' house though. We started. So actually, speaking of my grandma, we've talked a lot about my Nana this show. When she moved out of the house in Glenside that I just told you guys about, she she sold that house and she didn't want to live there anymore late in her life. And she moved into our house, my family house. And she put an addition on the back of the family house. And now she passed 5 years after she put it on. She passed probably 10 years ago now when I was a senior in high school. So we converted this to a studio. So this is now my studio. And then in there is like my dad's studio. So that's why when he's out in his studio doing the green zone, I'll walk out and help him. Yeah, so I'm at the parents' place right now. Parents' house for now. And then when I get married in, I don't know, next summer, I'm going to be moving out. So I got to save some cash, folks. I got to save some cash. All right. I got to put some cash away, man. I think some of you guys think I like rolling it because of this channel. I don't. All right. I got big expenses, man, when it comes to this. Cilio's making buku bucks. Cilio and Johnny Mac are both making, bread. I got to profit a little more myself. That's all right though. Siglord says, Z, we sold our fam house in Glenside in 2015 for $350K. It's now worth over $800. Dude, it's crazy. Sig, I don't know if I can afford around here, dude. I really don't. First off, I don't live by the beach. My grandma bought a house in 1978 that I lived in for a little bit. But yeah, and drives a brand new Camaro. Not a brand new. It's 2020, my Corvette. But yeah, I got to put some cash away, folks. So if you guys give super chats and memberships, it's appreciated. All right. I got to boost this revenue. I got to boost it, folks. I got a life to build. Hey, Sills and Whoppers, Bruce, if you knew how annoying Sills was. Oh, my goodness. I love him, but good night. All right. Stop. Come on, Bruce. All right. DM says, DM, dude, you live with the rents. How are you not making money? Well, first off, I didn't say I don't make money. And DM, when you start a business and you own a business, it's not the same as going and signing up for a job. And again, I'm not knocking anybody, but when I say to you, I legitimately pour everything into this business, I mean that 100%. I don't just mean all my time. I mean all my time, all my effort, all my money, everything. Everything goes into the business. I'm betting on the future. I'm not betting on the right now. That's why I always say I appreciate people who donate and support and do these things because, it's a show of like, keep going because you will ultimately get to where you're trying to get to, So, yeah, it has nothing to do with like living at home. When you're running like I could go get a job and yeah, you're right. I'd profit a lot. I don't have rent. I don't have mortgage and it'd be good. My fiance has a good job, actually. She has a good job. But she doesn't want to work forever. And I don't want her to work at all. I want her to, be the mother of our kids. I want to have a lot of kids. I want to, retire my wife and let her do what she wants. But got to get there, man. Got to keep pushing. Got to keep grinding my ass off. I will, too. I ain't going anywhere. It's hot out today, man. It's muggy. Let me turn on this window AC unit. Lower that bitch. Ooh, can you guys hear that? Can you hear that? The window unit? Yeah, vulnerable. These people, look, I can't expect everybody to understand it, but let them know, Xander, business gets paid first, especially early on. Then when it's running and everyone involved in the business happening, that's when you start rewarding yourself. Exactly, and I'm not there yet. All right? No, Abe, no. Abe, I have a what you would call a hypothetical grand slam when it comes to a woman. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's very supportive. Very, very, very supportive. Woman of faith. She's incredible. Truly my biggest blessing for sure. But no, she would never say that. But I know what she wants. So, but yeah, vulnerable. You get it, man. The business has to eat, you know. You make business earns X amount in a month. Business spends X amount plus 10% every month. It's expensive, man, to run a business. It's all. I love it, though. I will say I love it. I totally love it. I really do. I totally love it. For better or for worse, whatever, you know, the good and the bad, I understand it comes with a lot of that, but I absolutely love it, man. So I do. You guys keep showing up for me. I'll keep showing up for you with content every day, trying to get better and improve, and we'll get there. Hopefully we'll get there. All right. Hopefully we'll get there. Ian says, you got a wedding day set yet, Z? I actually do, but Ian, I'm not going to announce it yet on air. You know, you got a lot of people who lurk and look for information and use it. You know, a lot of you guys I love. There are people who watch who, you know, use shit against you. I've learned that the hard way. So I'm just going to keep it out. You know, I'm going to keep it out of there until it's a little closer. That's all. All right. What's the Thursday night game tonight, Drew? Is that it's Thursday night. Good. Football's back on. Let me look it up. Ooh, Seahawks Cardinals, good game. Off the top of my head, I like the Seahawks because I like Darnold a little bit better than I like Kyler Murray. But I think I like the Seahawks there. It's in Arizona, but that's not particularly a hard place to play. You know, do they have any fans over there? I don't really know. Jonathan Gannon's done a pretty good job over there. But I like Darnold. Darnold's having a good year, man. Good start to the year again. Crowley, going on 1 hour. What are you doing, man? 1 hour of sleep. Why are you on 1 hour? I'm on like 5, as I am every night. Caesar, later, brother. I'll email you back today. Z, giveaway for a wedding invitation. Yeah, I gotta clear that with the girl. Hey, honey, we gotta get a new venue for the wedding. JAKIB Nation wants to come. All right, I got about 150 people I got to invite from JAKIB Nation. Can we do that? Yeah, you guys. Wait. We've talked about it a lot today. Let's just hit this real quick. The wedding industry is fucking insane. Insane. Dave and Austin, 151. All right. Should I have some JAKIB Nation? Babe, we gotta cancel the invite to your cousins. Babe, your cousins can't come to the wedding. I gotta get JAKIB Nation. Hey, babe, you have to cut your family out. All right, I got JAKIB Nation that's got to come. Not cutting my family out, but we got to get JAKIB Nation. That's pretty funny. Yeah, it's crazy, guys. The wedding industry is nuts. This is what I mean. You guys say to me, you know, Big Z, I got a business to pay for. I got weddings, which are just like absurd now. House, insurance, wife, kids. I mean, I'm like, holy shit, I need to make like if I had $1 million liquid right now, which I don't, I barely have a plug nickel liquid. I'd still need more money. I'd still need to make more cash, man. Holy shit, man. Yeah, the weddings are nuts, man. All right. You need a wedding singer, Fredo. I don't know if you can handle that. All right. Post the registry. Oh, I'll do that. My girl, I think she's making the registry now, Curtis. You know, the worst. You know what my least favorite part about this whole thing? Because I'm excited as shit to get married. I really am. I'm really excited. I'm excited to be a husband. I'm excited to marry my girl. She's such a great person, such a good soul, man. Really is such a good soul. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to be a dad one day, God willing. You know what I'm not excited for? Like, she texted me, we need to get engagement photos done so we can send out our save the date. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Do I look like a motherfucker that wants to take some engagement photos? What am I going to do? What should I do with my hair for these photos, folks? Anybody got some advice? Bruce, 4 years. No way. I'm a Catholic, bro. I'm not getting divorced. That's never happened. Stop, Bruce, with that bullshit. Get out of here, bro. Some Black, you already said this, and I asked you what he said. All right? Engagement photos. I'm like, please. Please, for the love of God. That straight up look you had was a winner. Yeah, I don't know. We joked about this before on the show. Give me that spray hairline. I don't know if I could do it, Rich. All right. Oh, Emrayes, don't worry. It's already happening over here. Siglord, they really kind of are, but I won't say that publicly on the air because I don't want people to use it against me. But they are. They are. It's kind of like emasculation in a way. Not really, but like I could see why people say that. Not when you're me though, because I don't feel that way at all. So pretty funny though. Bond 2.0. You think I should shave it? Come on, folks. Look at this. The classic comb over. Never trust a guy with a comb over. Come on, Bruce. Yeah, I'll wear pink. Where's my pink Kanga? Pink Kanga is down here. I'll wear pink. Pink Kanga is fire. Love the pink Kanga. It's wintertime. I like these hats for wintertime. Once winter rolls around, I got to break out these 504s more. All right. Kango wedding. Somebody said that yesterday. I think it was Dirty Air. I like the idea. I like the idea. That's the look for my picks, Izzy B. You think so? Pink? Backwards pink? I got to like this style forward, though. It looks weird on me. Got to go backwards. Never trust a guy with a chihuahua. I don't know a guy with a chihuahua. That's weird. Pink is fire. White on white outfit with the pink Kango. Ooh, Abe, that'd be clean. Imagine the live. Should I stream the wedding? If I stream the wedding, I better get thousands of dollars in super chats. All right. Z gotta let it go. Let it go. What's that song? Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold you back anymore. What's that Disney movie? It's the princess one, right? What's that song movie called? Frozen? My girl likes that movie. I'm not big on Disney movie. I'm not a big movie guy. I don't really watch movies, but she watches them and I'm in the room, so I hear them. What a beautiful voice. You like it, Siglord? I can handle it. Z, forward, you look like a caddy. Rich, I like this style forward. I like this one forward. This is the one I like forward. I do look like a caddy, but I think it looks fire. Yo, I need to launch like a 50-day run of a new hat every day. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Keep my day job, Big Z. Philly Dunn, this is my day job. What are you talking about? Lucius. That's hilarious. Lucius says, Z, I don't know why, but I'm interested in this wedding live stream idea. Should we make it happen? Let me text my girl right now and see what she says. Babe, JAKIB Nation wants a live stream of the wedding. What do you think? Let's see what she says. Let's see what my beautiful girl says. Let's see what she says. She's gonna say no. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, my sister just sent me pics of the green rosary. Let's see what she says. Let's see what she says. Xander with a GoPro on his head. How funny would that be? I got the equipment necessary. All right. I got the equipment necessary. I like this. She says, I say wear what you're comfortable in. I'm comfortable in anything, honestly. I've never been. All right. I don't know. Let's see what she says, folks. I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted. Did anybody get the new iPhone? Deshay, that's all right. That's why I'm a man, brother. Welcome to being a man. You make money and you don't use it for yourself. She answered. What do you guys think she said? She's typing again. She's typing again. Let's see. What do you guys? Let me get some guesses on what she answered. All right. What did she answer? Boycott the new iPhone. I was going to get it because this is like a couple years old. Look, how many of you guys have a phone that's a couple years old that looks like as good as this with no case? No way in hell. She said, cut the shit. She said, are you kidding me? She is the best. She says, wait, she's typing again. I want to let her get her full thoughts out before I share them. Not you're done. She's a, I almost don't know if I should read her response fully. She seems to be looking at it opportunistically. You're done and dusted. She did not say that, Wild Bear, but good guess. That's the best guess so far. So first she said, stop it. Just to stop it. She hit me with the stop it. All right. And then she said, imagine those super chats. All right. Imagine those super chats. Imagine those super chats. She's looking to make some cash. That's because she knows that we want a house and we want a wedding and she knows we need cash. She knows where we stand. Just disable the chat. I wouldn't disable the chat. No way. Jaquan says, I'm going to come to your wedding and take a shit on your table. Okay, Jaquan. You'll get at least 5K in super. I don't think so. 5K, that's ridiculous. If I do 5K, guess what? We're live streaming the wedding. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. We're your virtual best men. I love that, Deshay. I will say, I do need it would be nice to have JAKIB Nation there in some way. It would. I love you guys. What's the big deal? It's just another camera at your wedding. Not like there will be a feed that the people can see the chat. No, I agree, Siglor. It wouldn't really matter that much. I think it would more be like I don't know. Rico Moore, I like her already. Well, yeah, she's a legend. 58. That's a great idea. Members only. Legend members only could watch. Who wants to watch the wedding? Would people? I don't think people would be that interested. Nah, Deshae, can't do that, man. You're throwing a party. You got to provide for the people. All right. Will you be wearing a GoPro? No. Siglord, if you think I'm afraid to admit that I can't dance, you're out of your mind. In fact, I've told my girl, I said she used to have these grandiose visions for dance moves I could do for our first dance. I'm like, honey, be prepared to stand still and go like this. That's it. That's the best I got. I can't dance. If my life depended on it, I can't dance. I can't dance. All right? I can't dance. I'm not afraid of you seeing my white boy dance moves. They're not even white boy dance moves. They're worse than that. I can't move. I can't move. Now Big Trag is in the bad territory. Stream the honeymoon. No. All right. Yeah, I can't dance, guys. I can't dance. All right. I'm like, if you take how many people are on planet Earth? 8 billion. I could be legitimately in the bottom 0.01% of dancers that live on planet Earth. Think about that for a second. There's 8 billion or however many people there are. Michael Jackson, who's not here anymore, might be the top dancer in the world. Maybe it's Chris Brown. I don't know. One of these dudes that can dance. Then you got like Curtis, who's like the 4 billionth dancer. So he's like middle of the pack. Then you got Rich, who's like 6 billionth. Maybe you have Izzy B, who's like the 2 billionth, somewhere up there. Maybe she's a little better. Maybe Kirsten Carter's like 1 billionth. I don't know. I'm like the 8.5 billionth. That's how bad I am. I can't dance. I can't move. I can't dance. I don't like it. I very rarely am I not a confident person. Like, I've always been very confident. I've always been very comfortable with who I am. You put me, like, honestly, you guys want to know what I am not looking forward to at my wedding? It's the dance floor. Because I just can't dance. I don't like dancing. I feel uncomfortable. I don't feel confident. I don't like it. The whole fucking thing I don't like. I got cousins, and my one cousin, he's like, the dance floor starts, and he's just like, he wants to get to the middle of it. I'm like, you're crazy. It gives me agita. I got agita thinking about it. I got agita right now. Have you taken dance lessons? Angelo, do I look like the kind of guy that's taking dance lessons? So, I don't know, guys. I can't dance, man. I'm not dancing. I can't move. White boy doesn't even, that's too nice. I think that's a disservice to white boys who can dance. I am like a plank. I am like a total plank. Literally just said, Big Mike. See, everybody says this. Like, everybody says this. Just let loose. That's all dancing is. Just let loose. Bro, I don't want to let loose. What do you mean let loose? What does that even mean? Let loose. Big Mike, explain yourself. What do you mean let loose? I just don't want to dance. I don't like dancing. All right? I'm a grown man. All right? I'm an entrepreneur. I'm trying to build a business. I don't dance. Dancing isn't my thing. You know what? I'll do the Trump. I'll do the Trump. I can't even do the Trump right. All right? I can't even do that one right. I mean, come on, man. Exactly, vulnerable. Xander dances the way Nate Jerry played live. No, that's still too good. All right. Big Mike says, relax. I know, Big Mike. Big Mike, I'm telling you right now, I'm a very relaxed person. All right. I'm very confident. I've never had these, like, when it comes to dancing, you're right, Big Mike. I get this weird feeling, and I'm just like, oh, man, I don't want to do it. I don't like it. Makes me anxious. Makes me nervous. Makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it, man. Here I am showing you guys the mortal side of me. All right. Z moving like Matt Pryor at right tackle. Where's a brother? Who I need a where's one of my great black listeners here who can dance? Most of the time, black guys just dance. They can just dance. Like, where's my guy Jamel in here? Rashad Boulevard. See, he got married last year, and I follow him. I love his Instagram account. I love his vintage store. But, like, I imagine that guy at his wedding was busting out the dance moves. All right? I'm just not going to be that guy. I'm going to be the guy at my own wedding just watching everybody dance. Honestly, it's my most agita when it comes to the wedding because I know everybody, you know what the other annoying thing is? And I already know my girl's going to do this too. The other annoying thing is like everybody's like, come on. They're like pulling you onto the dance floor. Come dance. Come dance. I'm like, yo, you go dance. All right. I'll watch you from here. I'll be here when you get back. Okay. My dad just said it to me. I'll be here when you get back. That's what I'm going to say to him. I don't want to dance. All right. I know it's my wedding. I'm very happy. I'm very excited. I don't need to express it via dancing. Okay. Holy shit. You see here, Curtis, I'm happy we're on the same page. He says, Zander, I'm 2,000% with you. So, Curtis, I take it if you're 2,000% with me, that means when you think about dancing, you get a little queasy. Like the attention, like people watch what how you're moving. I'm like, bro, I can't move. Stop watching me, you weirdo. Worry about yourself. You know? I just don't like it. All right? It's just awful. I can't. Andrew, me and you both, all right? We're at the bottom of the totem pole, my friend. See, this is what my girl said this to me. She's like, we should do a dance class. I'm like, no. Honey, I love you. I promise to be a great husband to you. I promise to serve you as I need to as a husband, to give you the best life possible, to take care of you, to protect you, to provide for you, to do all the things that you would expect me to do as a husband. I'm not taking dance classes. No. Vetoed. Done. I'm the decision maker, and it's done and dusted. Get it out of here. Say, Lord, just emasculate yourself even more. Go to a dance class. Oh, man. Sig, that's funny. Sig, I probably think more about it like you than you think, honestly, Sig. But it's a necessary evil. All right. I want to have kids. I want to have a family. I love my girl. I really do. She's such a great person. She really is. It's the best way I know how to describe her. She's just a good person, man. She really cares about people so much. All right. So if you want, I don't need brownie points, Big Trag. I don't need brownie points. Oh, learn a single song. Josh B, I don't know, dude. Let me read his full thing. He says, go all in. I don't dance, so my wife and I learned a full dance number. It was a lot of fun. Then I didn't dance the rest of the night. Didn't need to. Actually, Josh B, you're bringing up a good point here. I know what you're saying. You're basically saying to me, Josh B, I know you hate it, but you're going to have to do it. So learn one song, limit your exposure, maximize your opportunity, and then get out of Dodge. It's actually not a bad plan. Josh B, not bad. Now that I'm hearing you, Thomas says, if you love her that much, you take lessons. No, that's not true at all. My disinterest in dance classes has nothing to do with my love for my lady. All right. I love her very dear. I'd take a bullet for her. Really, legitimately. I would die for her to be okay. I would die. I would give up my life. I don't need it for her. Dance classes, Brandon Howard, what's up, Big Hal? What goal do we need to hit for you to take a dance class with your wife? Be a romantic gentleman. Brandon Howard, your arc this year is like, dude, you're too Canadian. What the fuck is this comment? Yes, take a bullet, but not a dance class. Yes! That's what I call a real man, all right? Take a bullet, not a dance class. That's me, all right? That's me. That is me in a nutshell. I would die for my lady, but I will not subject myself to a dance class. What about the cha-cha slide and those type dances? They literally tell you what to do. LOR, are you going to do those today? I don't know, Ryan. I've never really done them in the past. I don't know. I don't know. You guys got me talking about shit that makes me uncomfortable. I'm queasy. I got like a knot in my stomach right now. I'm already thinking about it. And all my girls, all her cousins pulling me on the dance floor. They're all watching me at this first dance. I'm like a fucking plank. I can barely move up there. Emily wants me to break out the moves a little bit. I'm like, honey, no. No. Oh man, you guys I'm anxious. I haven't been anxious in a year. Oh my goodness. Oh man. That's it. Fly Eagles, that's what I'm doing. I can sway. That's the best I can do. Big Trag, I've been married 20 years and still need the brownie points. What am I doing wrong? Be a man. How about that, Big Trag? Women want a man, brother. No, I know you. I'm just messing with you, Trag. If you're married 20 years, you're doing something right. If you're married 20 years, you're doing something right. I am unapologetically very man. All right. My girl loves that about me. She's like, you're such a man. I'm like, I know. I don't have many feminine bones in my body, if any. All right. Yeah, see, Curtis, we might never have been on the same page more. All right. Curtis, this might be the one thing that will combine us as brothers, Curtis. Curtis so beautifully articulates. All right. He says, I hate dancing so much. I kind of hate people who love dancing. Oh, Curtis. I'm so with you, Curtis. It hurts how much I'm with you. It legitimately hurts how much I'm with you. All right. I legitimately sometimes find myself judging people who love to dance. Like, bro, stop. Especially a dude. Like, they jump in the middle of the dance floor and they start, like, break dancing. I'm like, all right, bro. What is that? All right. Fly Eagle says, you mess up the first dance, you'll take a bullet from her. Nah, I won't. She loves me. She loves me wholeheartedly. All right. Never slow dance. I've slow danced. I slow dance, but see, the funny part is you turn the cameras off and I'm in here with my girl, just us, me and her. Yeah, I'll move as much as I can. I won't look good, but shit, I won't care. You put me in a room full of, I don't know, 100 people, and you're like, all right, everybody look the other way. Oh, it's funny. Look at Reyes. Stay on the wall, then flies. That's hilarious, man. Oh, man, that's funny. Reyes, I knew you'd be the guy in the middle. Reyes is that guy that, like, jumps in the middle when, like, nobody was expecting it, and he starts, like, break dancing on his head and doing, like, he does, like, the split in the middle of the dance floor, and you're like, all right, dude. It was a little much. Like, nice dance moves and all, but, like, hey, bro, that was a little much. You know, I know everybody thinks that. Nobody wants to say that, but everybody thinks that. All right? Oh, that's shit. I love dancing a little, but I might be tied to the Z on this one. Yeah, Wild Bear, it's a struggle for me. I legitimately have a knot in my stomach right now talking about this for 20 minutes. All right? You both said this. Taking a bullet from her, not for her. Nah, she ain't doing that. Z doing the spotty Tahati worm. Oh, that's another brutal one. The dude jump in and they do a worm in the middle of the floor, and you're like, all right, dude, was that necessary? Xander, you stream to hundreds of people but can't dance in front of family? That's a good point, Abe. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't freaking know, Abe. I don't know what it is, dude. All right. I don't know how to make. I don't know how to gauge it or quantify it. It just is what it is, you know? I got to take deep breaths. out here. All right, I'm getting out of here. We'll do a giveaway tomorrow. I might do 2 tomorrow if we hit our super chat goal. I will definitely guarantee this. I'll do a legend giveaway tomorrow. All right, I'll do a legend giveaway tomorrow. So we'll do a legend giveaway tomorrow. I just said the offer still stands. Anybody that becomes a legend member on the website, one of these hats still wrapped up in the packaging. I'll ship it to you. So if you want to become a legend member on the JAKIB Sports website, jakibsports.com, you can become a member over there. First person to do it gets this JAKIB hat. First person to do it gets one of these JAKIB hats. Got the snapback, white snapback. Legend giveaway tomorrow. And if we reach our super chat goal tomorrow, we will do 2 giveaways. 2 giveaways, okay? We will do 2 giveaways tomorrow if we reach our super chat goal. Okay? So, good stuff. Footloose, that's pretty funny. Not me. All right, love all you guys, man. Appreciate you being here. A long Xander time about a whole lot of nothing. But I love all you guys. Can I show you real quick these rosaries? My sister sent me pictures. Wow, look at that. I got to show that picture real quick. Look at that. Look at that. Holy mackerel. Who wanted a rosary? Look at these things. Dude. Look at that thing. Is that coming through as clear as it looks on my screen? Look at those beads. You can see the glass beads. There's depth in the beads. They're not just like green. They're almost like a glassy glint green. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. They're so beautiful. So incredible. Love you guys. If we live stream the wedding, I'll talk to my girl about that, all right? I'll talk to her about it. I'll see what she thinks. I'll see what I think, more importantly. But I'm going to need to get we're going to need to have a big push, all right, before the wedding day if we want to make that happen. I'm talking big push. I'm talking a big enough push where I can buy a house in peace and not have to have my stomach in knots over that too. All right? Look, life is hard. We do it all together, all right? I love all you guys, man. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Hit that like button on your way out. I would love to get to 200 likes. I don't think we got there. I don't think we're close, actually. I think somebody just said 160. So appreciate all you guys. Love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.